Cool. Hello, I'm back. Did you miss me? Rhetorical question. Hold on, let me change my lip color. Actually, I want to switch it to matte. Oh, I have wipes. So, it's been an interesting week. Um, I've been really busy with my job. Not because the job itself is necessarily so heavy workload or anything like that. I mean, at least at the moment, knock on wood. But the commute is just very brutal and long. Like, it takes about an hour. If I'm just comfortably walking, like if I'm not rushing or anything, it can take about an hour and 15 minutes, basically, door to door, which is a lot for me to go from working from home for the past 3 years and not having to go into an office to all of a sudden commuting 1 hour and 15 minutes each way. And I'm sticking it out because, they said that after the first month of training and all of that, once that's done, I can switch to hybrid working. But yeah, that's the main reason that I've been kind of MIA lately. Because the first week on the job, I was like, I don't want to say traumatized, but kind of traumatized by just how much of a toll the commute took on me physically. And I was like literally falling asleep every day in the bathroom. It was bad. And it was giving me flashbacks to when, like, that would happen to me a lot at previous jobs. I would just be so exhausted that I'd have to literally, sneak 30 minutes or something in a meeting room, like pretend that I'm going to go do work in a meeting room, but then actually sleep. And I decided that, okay, I cannot do that anymore. Like, I need to leave that in the past, even though I don't think it's my fault. Like, I don't think it's any of our faults that, I don't know. I don't believe that humans are meant to stay awake for like 10, 12 hours on end, especially not in a sedentary sitting position in front of your computer at work. But unfortunately, that is just the state of a lot of people's lifestyles these days. So, but I figured that, no, I decided that like I cannot go back though to that time in my life where I was just like fighting for my life, trying to stay awake in an office. And especially because it's temporary, right? So I wouldn't even like F with this job if they didn't have the guarantee that I was going to be able to switch to hybrid working after the first month. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to have to suck it up and prioritize sleep above all else, at least for this first month. So for the second week, I ended up like literally making sure that I got excessive amounts of sleep the second week. So even when I didn't feel particularly tired, I forced myself to sleep at least 10 hours every day for the second week, which you can imagine if I'm spending like 2.5 hours on commute every day, that literally only leaves room for me to eat dinner and shower when I get back home, which is exactly what I did. So I would eat, shower, and go to sleep basically. And like feed Maxine and everything before that. And so yeah, that's why I've been kind of MIA, but I miss you guys. I miss YouTube. I'm definitely meant to be a content creator, even if I never make it big, um, which I will. I'm manifesting it still. But even if it's like not my main income source at the moment, I can never give this up. So yeah. But I was gonna say, so I titled this stream my birthday live stream because I didn't actually get to celebrate my birthday because everything was such a whirlwind since I started my new job. So my birthday was August 5th, and I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't get to celebrate it, to be honest. And also about some other things that I won't get into. But yeah, I feel like somehow this always happens whenever there's an important event, whether it's my birthday or Halloween is another huge one. Like, something always happens to where my plans for that event every year get torpedoed. Like, I was thinking about it before going live. And I realized that even with Halloween, I have not been able to do a proper Halloween for I don't even know how many years. Because every year something comes up where I'm just not able to execute, even though I have like sometimes I have multiple costume ideas planned out and I'm not even able to like I think one year at least I tried my best. Like I put it on and I took some pictures at home at least, but I don't know. I mean, I guess that's good enough. It's not like I'm not in the phase of life anymore where I necessarily feel like I need to go to a million Halloween parties per se, but I don't know. It's just a bummer. Like, you only get one life, right? So I don't want to be one of those people that, like, I'm very conscious to not be one of those people that is always putting things off. Like, they're always talking about the amazing plans that they're going to have, but never actually act on it. That's why I went to Dubai like 4 times within the span of the past 6 months. Has it been 6 months? Oh, no, no, no. I guess, yeah, 4 times in 10 months, 4 times in a year. And that's why I even though like it might not necessarily have been the smartest financial decision, it would have been better for me to like save a little bit of money and like I'm not in debt or anything, but I cut it quite close, right? If I didn't get my job exactly at the time that I did, I would not be able to pay my bills this month. So it's like paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, which I'm trying to break out of. I will break out of. But yeah, I don't want to I don't know. I just don't like putting things off, especially like the older I get. I mean, I still think that I just turned 35, so I don't think 30s are old at all. I think 40 is the new 18, if anything. But I just don't want to regret anything in life. Like, I don't want to sit around and talk about my plans. I just want to execute. And I also only want to be around other people that think the same, which so far I feel like my inner circle is pretty good these days. Like, I'm very, very particular and selective about the people that I interact with on a regular basis, which I don't even, like I said, for the past 2 weeks and for the rest of this month, I'm not even going to be socializing that much. So the new job is in cybersecurity. I can't tell you the company name for obvious reasons, although I really wish I could, because I feel like the people that watch me here on live, you guys are like the OGs, you know? You're like really in my corner. But since it's a public platform on YouTube, I cannot say. Um, Sorry, my throat hurts. Like when I swallow, it's gotten a little better since this morning, so that's why I can speak. But if I'm talking softly, that's the reason. Yeah, but what was I saying? Oh, so the role is in cybersecurity, which is kind of like a field that I've wanted to break into for the past 1 to 2 years, 1.5 years. But I actually interviewed for a cybersecurity role like about a year ago, I would say, at my previous job, and I got the role. I got an offer, but I didn't like the terms because I didn't feel that the pay was high enough, even though they offered me more than I was making at the time. I just felt like it wasn't worth it for me to switch over, and plus it was only a 1-year contract, which I felt like was not attractive compared to the fact that, you know, I was already a permanent employee at my old company, so I didn't really understand why they would I didn't appreciate the offer that they gave me, basically. That they would think that I would just like go for a 1-year contract because, you know, your status in Japan as a foreigner drops down if you go from permanent to contract employee, especially since I'm trying to get permanent residency. So it's definitely much more beneficial for me if I get a permanent job. That being said, though, this company, this job right now, as of now, it's not permanent. It's like a rolling contract basis, but things are different, right? Because I got this job without having a job that I was working at previously. Like, I left my last company in April because I just couldn't hold anything together anymore after my dad died in December. But then, you know, I got back on my savage tip and made it happen to where I got employed within 4 months. But yeah, I wanted to come on here and talk about a few things. So, first of all, my birthday. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I'm a Leo, so we consider the whole month of August to be our birthday anyway, like not just the one day that we were born. So there's still time to celebrate. Um, I went to one of my friends. She held like a party in Roppongi for her birthday. It was like the 11th or something. So we're both Leo babies. And then I met another Leo at the club, which kind of went disastrously, but we won't get into that. Um, and yeah, I just feel like the big Leo energy is Leoing right now. I don't know. So I wanted to come on here and maybe impart some of that Leo energy to all of you out there, whether you are a Leo yourself or not. I feel like this could help you. Um, so yeah, there's this new song by, I think his name is The Kid Leroy, called Girls. No, it's just called Girls, but it's kind of like a refreshing take, a modern take on the OG 80s hit by Cyndi Lauper called Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. You guys know that song, right? Girls just wanna have fun. But then the Kid Leroy released his song Girls earlier this year, and it's like girls just wanna have fun. Girls just wanna something. And I'm like obsessed with that song because the whole concept, if you watch the music video, it's very like 90s, late 90s, 2000s R&B inspired, and the sound as well. I wonder if I can play it. They're probably gonna copyright strike me, but no, I love that song. Girls. I'll just read the lyrics to you. Oh, I got a haircut too. Do you guys like it? I should have done this a long time ago. Even though, like, I literally just didn't have time because, like I said, my commute is basically eating up my entire life at the moment, but I should have done this a long time ago. So I grabbed the opportunity on Thursday to get my hair cut after work in Ginza because I work in Ginza now, or that's where the office is. And it's so funny because we had a typhoon, like typhoon number 7 on Friday. So my boss actually told, like, my manager at the company actually told me to work from home on Friday because the typhoon was coming. So they didn't want to take any chances with like the train lines not working properly, things like that. So I just think it's funny how I literally always manifest um, natural disasters whenever life or some institution tries to push some arbitrary bullshit on me, such as coming to the office every single day, which I know for a fact is not necessary, especially in a field like cybersecurity. Like that's kind of the whole point. We the crux of the job is to protect all the virtual networks that we have. So it's like, why do we have to come into a physical office if our work is literally all done within a virtual realm? But yeah, so I manifested that typhoon so that I wouldn't have to work from home on Friday. It's not even because I mean, I was very happy to have the 3-day weekend essentially, but also the fact that it just kind of invalidates their whole argument about how I have to go into the office every day for a month because clearly I can work at home when shit really hits the fan. When shit really hits the fan, like when there's an actual natural disaster, you have no choice but to let me work from home. Anyway, the God complex is God complexing. There she goes again, attributing natural disasters to her own manifestation powers. Okay, so yeah, this is the song. Holy shit. Um, I just did a makeup video, so I have like new products all over my desk. But yeah, this is the song Girls by the Kid Leroy. Girls just wanna dance, girls just wanna have fun. I don't know your plans, I just wanna get some. Girls want a summer with their friends, wanna do it to their ex, and they get the job done. I love this song, right? It's a vibe. And I realized that this is also this is a message that I kind of want to talk about. So girls just want to have fun. My interpretation of this line or this phrase is that girls, so like if we were still living in like the 2000s, I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember that, some of you may not have been born, but there was like a really, really insidious um, kind of female bashing culture that was the norm back then. And so it's like they would take the press, the media, and I'm talking about American media, they would take a lot of pleasure into kind of like slut shaming women or highlighting them at their lowest points. Like if you guys remember Britney Spears when she kind of had her mental health problems and she shaved her head, and the incident where she smashed in somebody's car. I don't know if it was her own car or someone else's, someone on her team. But anyway, she had a shaved head and she was like smashing someone's car with an umbrella. And that image made headlines all over the world, right? And it was at that time she was ridiculed for that. Whereas I feel like nowadays the climate has definitely changed a lot. We've had a lot more meaningful discussions about mental health and things like that. So I don't think that it would fly for anyone to be making fun of a celebrity that was going through something like that in today's climate. But back then, this was like all par for the course, right? Like the suffering of women, anything that women do, it's like the media, the press, the mostly male dominated media would desire and lust after these female figures like the celebrities, but then at the same time want to ridicule and bring them down. And there's still definitely an element of that today. Like I don't think it's ever going to go away as long as we live under this patriarchal society. But where was I going with this? Okay, so yeah, I feel like back then when you listen to if you were to listen to a song like Girls Just Want to Have Fun, the original one by Cyndi Lauper, because this one by Kid Leroy was not out yet, you would think you would be inclined to interpret it in a way that is disparaging to girls, right? You would interpret it as, oh, girls are not serious about anything, or they just want to have fun, like they're dumb, they just want to play with makeup and fashion, and they don't want to get serious about their life, right? That's why like a lot of us, the millennials, at least, we've been raised and programmed to believe that we needed to try super hard to prove ourselves in the work arena, to prove that we can work as hard as a man, that we can contribute just as much and just as well as a man can. And that really pushed us into our masculine energy. When the truth of the matter is, we don't have to prove shit to anyone, okay? Which makes me come to my personal interpretation of the girls just want to have fun ideology. Am I going to start like a whole new trend with this? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying anything new or revolutionary, but I feel like I haven't heard anyone else put it quite this way before. So here we go. I feel like girls just want to have fun. If you wanted to, my interpretation of it, which I feel is much more empowering and positive and like kind of taking back the power that we innately have as women, as the divine feminine, my interpretation is that we bring the fun into any situation that we go into. So like we are the party essentially, right? If we show up at the party, we're not actually showing up at the party. Like the party, the event space, that is just kind of that's the physical space that has been procured to host all these people and to be able to accommodate all these people that are going. But the actual party, like the vibes, are brought by the girls, by the women, by the divine feminine. And so that's what I believe the phrase, that's what I take the phrase girls just want to have fun to mean. And I feel like it's super empowering, and it might be helpful if I expounded on that in this interview. Interview. Wow. This live. Why did I think I was being interviewed? So I just want to remind you. It's just a reminder, or like if it's the first time that you're hearing this, that's great too. But I want to remind you that you are the party. Like you are the vibes. You bring the good times and the fun. So that's your superpower as a woman, as a girl. That's the magic of the divine feminine. So even if you are okay, I'll tell you what kind of triggered this thought inside me. I so I've been training with there's like 3 people that I interact with most on a daily basis at my job at this moment at least. So there's one girl who is like really closely training me. She's the one that is kind of directly handing over her tasks to me. And in the beginning, she was very like We would not be friends, like, outside of work. I don't think I mean, I think she's a fine person, but we're just not the same we're not cut of the same cloth. I'll just say that, right? She's very, like, yeah, into I don't wanna say, like, super masculine or anything, but she's very, like, serious, and I can tell that she's also a foreigner, so she's not a Japanese girl, but she's like, her Japanese level is very high, which is why she was doing that job before me, because you can't, that job requires a very high Japanese language level. And I could just tell, like, from the beginning, I don't know, I was a little put off, to be honest, because she kinda just, like she didn't even really introduce herself. I don't blame her for this at all, by the way, but I'm just saying things that I noticed. Like, she didn't introduce herself to me. She was just like, "Okay, let's jump in because, like, we have a lot of stuff to do." And I was just thinking to myself inside, like, "Okay, but why why do you think that you need to, like, shorten the interaction? Like, why do you think that a greeting is not necessary, you know? Because I already know people like this, what their thought process is. They think that, like, "Oh, there's too much stuff to do, there's too much to get done, there's not enough time to finish everything." But, like, you're not going to save any time by not giving a proper introduction to someone. I don't know. I know it feels like okay, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to come for anybody in this video. I'm just using this example as like a way to explain this concept of girls just want to have fun that I find to be like a very powerful manifestation tool, if anything. So I noticed in the beginning because like all my male managers, right? And it's not a male female thing, but like everyone else that I work with is male. She's the only like we're the only two girls in our department, I think, or like at least in that immediate vicinity. Sorry, I'm literally like wiping the sweat from my armpits off on my chair because it's so hot. TMI, I know. But yeah, I just felt like, I was just kind of I'm sad when I see women who are still in that like hustle mentality. But I'm also not Captain Save a Ho, so like I can't save everyone. Only when they wake up themselves, if they want to seek out my videos and stuff, then they can learn by themselves. But I'm not going to like try to recruit somebody that's not even, you know, they haven't even reached that mindset or that realization on their own that they don't need to do this. But yeah, I just thought that like it was interesting because there are a lot of girls like that out there nowadays where they feel like everything needs to be so serious, like they need to prove themselves, it's a male dominated work environment, right? Cybersecurity is a male dominated field, so they need to be like super serious and like I don't know, even as far as their appearance goes, they need to water it down or make themselves not you can't be too girly and you can't even take time to like you can't even take a extra 30 seconds to just introduce yourself to the new hire so that you guys get started on the right footing. You think that everything is just like go go go, we got to work. Because I know that that's not a reflection on her. It's not that she's a rude person or anything. It's just that she thinks that this is what is required and expected of her, right? So yeah, I realized that like so I'm gonna talk about three people. Okay, so that girl who's training me, and then there's another guy. So after the girl leaves, I'm mostly gonna be interacting with this guy for my daily tasks, and then our manager, who I believe actually, so even though he's like a male manager and he's straight and everything, I believe he actually embodies the most feminine energy out of all of all three of them in the sense that he's like very lighthearted. He doesn't take things seriously. So obviously he's a very like obviously he does take the work seriously, and if we have any actual like breaches on security or attacks on the network, he's gonna make sure that all hands are on deck to solve that. But he I mean, he's the manager, so it makes sense. Like, he's the highest in the totem pole in this situation. But, like, he is very, very, jokey and easygoing. Like, even in the interview, I remember he was like, yeah, relax. Like, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Let's just have a normal conversation. And, like, I vibe with him. We get along really well, me and my manager, at the moment, at least. Knock on wood. I don't know what's gonna happen when, if shit really hits the fan. Because it's cybersecurity, you never know. But like I feel like okay. Yeah, I feel like he has the most feminine energy in the sense that he lets things flow. He's not like trying so hard to fit a certain image or make everything so serious, like, "Oh, we work in cybersecurity, we have to get things done by this time, like, we have to make sure that this and that network is robust." He's more like, those things are a given, you know? And I feel like, in his energy, you can sense that he has trust, okay, in his employees, in the people that he works with. Like, he trusts other people to be adults and to manage their own work, right? Like, he trusts me, even though I'm a beginner in this field, like, I'm just starting out learning about cybersecurity. He trusts that I'm an adult, that I'm responsible enough to, like, take notes on my own. I can speak up if I need to. I can go ask people if I don't understand something to make sure that I get a handle on the concepts so that I don't like F things up, right? In the future when push comes to shove, when there's like an actual incident, so that like I can do my job well and protect the sensitive information of that company. And so, but he's not like he doesn't have to micromanage to go about that. He just by his like his vibe, by him showing me that he is very laid back and he's not going to micromanage, that in turn inspires me to take responsibility for myself, right? Whereas if you try to micromanage someone, or when you try to push onto someone that they need to take this and that seriously, like we need to finish this by 5 p.m., you need to understand this concept, that automatically repels people. And in some people, like myself included, that actually has the opposite effect because now when you tell me to do something, like when you're trying to put me under your thumb, even if it's not intentional, then I automatically want to rebel. And like it automatically makes me want to not even try, right? Like I'm over it by that point. And so, yeah, girls just want to have fun. So I noticed that with so the girl that's training me, it's funny because like I know how to hold my own energy, right? Even in the face of other people that have different that are in like hustle culture or they're like busybodies and stuff. I know how to hold my own calm, peaceful energy no matter what. So like she would sometimes get very frustrated when explaining things to me because I would ask a million questions because I don't really okay, I actually don't think this is her fault because she's also a contract employee. I think she's only been there for a month and she didn't want to stay there. So, that's her business. I think she's actually very, very proficient in IT. Like she's worked in IT, in pure IT roles for the past 8 years of her career. And she actually has a degree in IT, unlike myself. So I don't have the same foundational knowledge as her. So I told her this and like this, it's not her fault. Like it's not that she was trying to be um annoying or condescending to me or anything, but I just felt like the way that she trained me, it was like not effective at all because I was not understanding the concepts behind why we had to do certain tasks. So she would jump into a task and she would be like, "Okay, so make sure you open this file, but then you have to copy this other one onto your desktop so that you don't use like, the shared file. You want to like copy it so that you can open a new page and do your work." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but like all of this stuff I can actually figure out by myself just by reading the Excel sheet, right? Because we have like a whole Excel notebook, a whole Excel worksheet of all of the tasks that I have to do on a weekly or daily basis. But like if I don't understand the meaning behind them, like why are we doing this? What exactly are we checking here? Like why exactly do we have to compile this report? Then it's just going to go in one year and out the other, right? Like I can do it now with you because you're here guiding me, but I'm not going to be able to do it a second time if I don't understand the actual concept behind it. So I was trying to like ask a lot of questions during the handover because I wanted to make sure that I could like recreate the tasks over and over again once she left, right? And I knew that that was not gonna happen unless I had a fundamental understanding of the actual systems that we were working around. But yeah, and then she kept getting frustrated with me because that would like lengthen the time that it took to hand over a certain task. And she was never like, she was never unpleasant or anything. And I was never unpleasant to her, but I could tell she was getting so agitated sometimes. She'd be like, no, it's because of, I'd be like, wait, but why are we doing this though? Like server A, server B, what does that exactly mean? And she would be like, oh my god, like, so it's because server A is connected to, like, this, and that IP, like and I'm like, "Okay, well, great, that's great," If you didn't explain that to me, like, I would never have known, right? Because I don't know how things are set up in this company. I just came here. But she would get like very agitated. And I was just like, man, if only she knew that girls just want to be fun means that we can make everything fun, right? We can make every situation, we have the power to make every situation as fun or as stressful as we want. Truly. I'm not saying this lightly. I know that there are very adverse circumstances that people find themselves in sometimes where sometimes you physically just like you're exhausted. Case in point, my commute, like I'm literally standing on a crowded train in Tokyo for 2.5 hours out of my day. Like, you think that I'm not exhausted? You think that I could be exhausted and agitated by that if I wanted to, but I refuse. Okay. Because my mission is to have fun in this world and to play, like to bring that light, playful, feminine energy to everything, to every situation, everything that I touch, whether it's work or a get together with friends. So, like, for example, what I do, and this is okay, this is not the best health wise, but I start work at 9:30, right? So I have to make sure that I get out of my house by 8 if I want to get there comfortably. I don't like to rush. So I wake up at 7, literally, just so that I can do my makeup. I give myself an hour to do makeup, which is plenty of time. Because if I don't do my makeup, I'm not gonna feel good. Like, that's just my personality. There's some women that feel totally fine to have a bare face. That's not me. Okay. I like to have a full face of makeup. Not like full face, green cut crease. No, I do it demure. Okay, very cutesy, very demure. Very mindful. Okay, I don't do a blue cut crease when I go to work. I'm doing it today because it's Sunday. Not when I go to work though, okay? I do it very mindful, very neutral, very cutesy. Oh my god. But like, yeah, I make sure that I have an hour oh, sorry. I just saw a message. It said connection lost, but it was talking about my mouse. I was scared for a second, not the actual internet connection. Yeah. So I make sure I have an hour to do makeup because that's important to me. When I look good, I feel good. And so I'm out the door by 8 a.m., which means that I get to Ginza Station by 9 a.m., which gives me enough time to grab a Starbucks before I go to work. Because technically I start at 9:30, although they're not like super strict about that or anything. But it's good to come in at 9:15 or something to make a good impression during the first month at least. So yeah, is not necessarily like healthy. So you guys know I don't like to drink coffee even like when I was working from home for the past 3 days for the past 3 years at my previous job, I never drank coffee because I didn't have to because I would just like literally sleep until like 8:50 and then work starts at 9, right? So even if I had a meeting at well, I mean if I had a meeting at 9 a.m., I would wake up a little earlier to do my makeup so that I look presentable on Zoom. Hi, simply me. I get this so much. Our careers are north and south, but my recent onboarding was very similar to Mirtzi. I know, right? Very demure, very cutesy. But yeah, like I do all of that. Like I know exactly what I need to do um in order to have a good day, right? In order to have the most fun filled day that I can. Not to say that it's not going to be 100% like chilling, sipping mimosas by the beach or anything. No, it's a full-time job. Like I have responsibilities and I have like yeah, this is kind of the thing. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but this is kind of what I'm trying to move out of, like the fact that I've been in project management mostly for most of my career. I'm trying to switch into a more technical role essentially. We'll see how it goes. I don't even know if I'm necessarily cut out for it like intellectual wise. I mean, I am good with numbers and stuff, but like you have to be very very meticulous in cybersecurity, right? There's no room for error and I'm not 100% confident on that. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to use this opportunity to get an actual cybersecurity degree or maybe several. And I'm trying to move to a more technical role because I feel like with the project management roles, they always like use that as an excuse to dump 3 different jobs on you when technically you're only getting paid for one. So that part I don't like. But yeah, it's a transition period, right? And we're on a good path, I'm on a good path, but so I have responsibilities, right? I have both technical and project management responsibilities, which is it's okay right now. I don't know. I mean, if it ramps up in the future, if it gets to be like way too much, then I'm just gonna be like fuck it, or I'm just gonna actually knowing me, since again I bring the fun, I bring the party to every situation. Like I will just refuse to let that be a stressful situation. I will literally just stay like super late every day so that I can collect that overtime pay and like buy more shit for myself, you know? That's how like I girls just want to have fun is a mentality. It's a vibe, you know? It's like it's a refusal to let things get to you, okay? It's a refusal to succumb to like other people's ideas. Okay, cuz this is another thing that like both the girl and the guy that are training me kind of I was getting kind of annoyed every time they would say something like this, and they weren't saying it. I know that they are not saying it to like discourage me. I know that in their minds they think that this is like helpful, but to me, because my vibration is so high, I don't see it as helpful. I see it as annoying. And so for example, the girl would always say to me that, "Oh, you know, I think that like Rensun, because they call me like Rensun at work with my last name, they're like, I think that you are going to be really busy because like not only do you have to take over all of the technical work that I'm teaching you right now, you also need to do the project management for like these other, you know, the we have like a couple of other services that we have with other companies that require like regular checkups, regular meetings with the account managers, with the client managers." And so she was like, yeah, she kept saying this to me and it really like annoyed me, but I wasn't, you know, I didn't let myself get triggered all the way, but she said this so many times to me because in her mind she thinks that this is like helpful somehow, that she's acknowledging how stressed I'm going to be, but I'm like, "Yo, don't even put that on me." You know? Like don't put that energy or that expectation on me that I'm going to be stressed out or that this is going to be a stressful job for me. No, this is fabulous. Okay? It's all part of my grandmaster plan to become an expert in cybersecurity and move to Dubai and then eventually not even have to work anyway because I'm going to meet my Emirati prince and just be living the housewives of Dubai, housewives of Abu Dhabi lifestyle. So don't even put that on me. But I know that, you know, most people do not think at this level, so I don't blame her. But she kept saying that to me. And it was really like starting to annoy me. At one point, she was like we went to lunch and stuff. And I noticed, so one thing I am glad about is that I noticed that her demeanor got more lighthearted after like the first couple of days of training me. If I had just acquiesced, if I had just gone along with the tone that she set for the training, it would have just been so like, ugh, like not fun at all, not the vibes. Okay, it would have been so just clinical business, like, oh, we have to get this and that done. But since I refused, I was like, look, I'm taking this seriously, right? Like I'm taking notes. I'm even asking so many questions to the point where you're annoyed at me asking this many questions. But I'm doing all this. I think she could sense that, like, yeah, I'm doing all this because I take it seriously. That doesn't mean that I have to be serious though. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean that we don't get to laugh or joke or create our own fun within the context of the workplace, like within the office, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was one thing that I noticed that she kept saying to me. She was like, "Oh, I think you're just going to be so busy because like it's already so much work to do all of this technical task stuff. It's already so much to keep up with, and on top of it, you have to do project management. Like you're going to be so busy." And I was like, "Okay, literally I would have thought of it that way if you didn't bring it up. Like if you didn't insist on I didn't say this to her, but in my mind, I'm like, if she didn't insist on just framing this immediately as something that's going to be stressful and hard work, it would never have crossed my mind. Like, yes, I am wary. You know, I'm conscientious, especially like with regular 9 to 5 jobs. They always do this, right? They always try to push you to their limit, or they try to overload your plate. That's why you can't ever be too efficient. Okay, at a 9 to 5 job. So I'm giving you a little tea here, a little tips for the girls starting out, the career girlies that are just starting out. Maybe you just graduated college and you got your first big job. Like don't try too hard. Make it look like you're trying hard, but don't actually operate at 100% um, efficiency. That's going to burn you out quicker than, I don't know, quicker than my makeup melts off in Dubai in August. So you should be working at like maybe 60% efficiency. Make it look like you're busy, like when you interact with your boss and people, make it look like you're super enthusiastic, but like don't actually do that much work. Don't actually work that hard. Um, but yeah, if she hadn't framed it as like something that was going to be so stressful and busy, I would have never thought of it that way. Like I don't worry anymore. I know that everything is meant to work out for me, so I would find a way to make it fun, Like do I want to do technical work along with project management? No, but I also like technically I don't want to work at all either, right? But I'm here because this is what I need to do to get my shit together as long as I don't have like as long as I'm still calling in my provider man, my prince. So I'm going to make the best of what the current situation is, right? So even if it gets kind of busy where I have to like juggle all these meetings along with the technical cybersecurity stuff that I have to do every day, I'm still going to find a way to make it fun, right? And part of that part of that is as simple as looking good every day. Like I already automated the process of my morning routine. Like I have to get at least 10 hours of sleep. So yes, I'm forcing myself to sleep for 10 hours. Like I'm oversleeping essentially because I don't want to ever be in the situation where I'm like falling asleep at work again. Even though like it's not about, it's not like I get caught or anything, but it's just a horrible feeling if anybody out there has been through this. Like it's not a good feeling and it's not our fault because we're not even meant to stay awake and stare at a computer screen for 10 hours straight. That's not what the human body is built to do. But if that's the, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? That's another way that you can say the whole girls just want to have fun phrase. 70% efficiency because they get the rest plus. They'll get the rest plus. Girl, I would like 50%. Okay, maybe like starting out if you can do 70%, but I would say gradually dial it down to like 60, 50% because I ain't got time. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like even if I have to do like meetings and stuff every day, I refuse to let it stress me out. Also from my perspective too, I immediately was like, okay, but how is this stressful though? Because the people that I'm meeting with, like the projects that I would be managing, it's not it's not like our company providing the service to them. We are the customer in this scenario. Like we're subscribed to their service, so we have to meet with them periodically to like make sure that their new features and whatnot, or like the projects that we have right internally about how we want to clean up our internal folders and whatnot. I have to meet with them to like make sure that we're on the same page and to make sure that they're delivering what we need from their service. But it's to me that's like a relaxed position though, because yeah, like I'm gonna have to do the busy work of taking meeting minutes and whatnot, but psychologically speaking, it's very relaxing because I'm not the service provider, right? Like I'm the customer. I'm sitting back and they're supposed to impress us. Or else we're gonna stop using their service if they can't deliver, right? So and I'm just saying this because like this is the complete opposite from the position that I was in at my previous job where our company was the service provider. So every client that we met with, I still refuse to see it as a stressful situation, but it was definitely more high stakes, right? Because we were like every meeting that we have, you are constantly aware of you constantly have to please the client, but you have to strike this balance between like, giving the client what they want, but then also managing their expectations. Because if you give people an inch, they'll take a mile, that kind of thing. So I just felt like, the projects that I have to manage at this new role, it's a completely different scenario from my previous job. Like I'm in the customer seat now, so I get to relax, right? Even though there might be a lot of stuff to do, like physically speaking, busy work, but it's not going to be like stressful, And I just think it's so interesting that so many people default to that as like that must be your experience because you have all these things on your to-do list. It must be like there's no other way to experience that than to be stressed out. I completely reject that. Okay, because girls just want to have fun. Like I bring the fun, I bring the party, I bring the ease to every situation. Even if it's 100 task to-do list, I still bring the fun and the ease to that. And that's another reason why, like, I noticed that the last week, 2 weeks ago, no, last week, I was invited to go out to a dinner and karaoke afterwards with the rest of the team. And I noticed that both the girl and the guy that were training me, they didn't go. And my manager wanted to go, but he said that that particular night, his wife wanted to go out with her friends, which means that he would have to stay home and take care of their baby. So that was kind of cute. Like when he said it, he was like, yeah, my wife said that she's going to go out with her friends drinking tonight, which means that I have to take care of the baby, or else I would really love to go. And so I can tell that, like, I think for the next one, so they have a monthly team dinner thing, and I'm gonna go to that one too. That one's gonna be in September, but I have, like, in Japanese it's called yoyu. I have space. I have flexibility, like within my heart. Okay, obviously physical exhaustion is a real thing for sure, but I don't know. Like I just told you, I'm taking care of the physical exhaustion part by forcing myself to sleep 10 hours a day, at least for the month of August, right? Until my training period is over, then I can work from home and I'm going to have more energy just by that alone. But like if you just do what you have to do to take care of the physical aspects, like if you just, and at the risk of sounding cliche, because I watch so many like podcasts and self-help gurus where like entrepreneurial type of content where they tell you that literally everything starts with your health, right? What you eat and how much sleep you get, and if you can exercise on a daily basis or a regular basis, like that's pretty much going to be the cornerstone of your entire life experience, or that's going to like determine everything about how efficient or successful you can be in your business. Because if your health is not on point, then you're just going to feel like shit, which will cost you drastically in whatever else you're trying to do in life, whether it's business or relationships. So that's literally what I had to do, and that's what I'm doing right now. Like, okay, it's time to, is it boring to just like go to work, come home, eat, shower, and sleep? Yeah, it's boring. I want to stay on my phone and scroll forever, but if I do that, the opportunity cost is just simply too great. It's not even just the fact that I'm going to be tired and lethargic the next day. It's a domino effect, right? Like it's gonna make me tired, which is gonna reduce my ability to take joy in everything, like even the mundane little tasks. I'm going to not even have the ability anymore to enjoy those, to make it fun, because I'll be so distracted by how exhausted I am that, yeah, like I won't even have that um ability anymore to use like my natural femininity, my natural feminine essence to make it fun. And yeah, another thing, so that was the girl. And then the guy that's training me, so he's a lot older. This girl is actually like 4 years younger than me. I think she said she's turning 30 soon. But she has a kid too, which I was like so surprised when I found out, because to me she looks like a typical kind of like, mousy, not in a bad way, but very like serious IT student. If you told me she was in grad school, I would believe you. But no, she's almost 30 and she has a kid. I think she thought I was younger than her at first, actually. I'm actually like 35. But so the guy, he's a bit older. He's like in his mid 40s. But he's really nice too, but he's also like in that energy of, oh, we have so much work to do, blah blah blah. Like when he writes, no, you can tell a lot by the way that people write to you. Their written communication tells a lot as well. Like the people that just write paragraphs and paragraphs, I call it essays, right? Me and my coworker at my previous job, we would always joke about like all these essays that people are sending us. Like, damn, I didn't sign up to be an 8th grade English literature teacher, but here I am reading all these essays. So like people who write essays, you can tell a lot about their mind state. Like they're more often than not in that hustle bustle mentality as well, like the busy bee mentality. Oh, that's a good description, like busy bee. I really don't like to be the busy bee. It's just not the vibes for me. So my manager doesn't do that, right? Even though like he, by definition, he is the busiest out of everyone. Okay, like he has the most on his plate, but because of that, like in order to be good at his job, he cannot get bogged down by every single little detail. Like when he writes messages to me, it's literally the most casual little one-liners ever. He'll be like, "Oh, can you add this to? Can you add this site or can you add this service to our list?" And if I have to clarify anything, it's the same thing. I ask him like one sentence. Oh, do you mean this list? Or do you mean like, do you want me to create an account? What do you mean by add? And he'll be like, yeah, create an account. And like, that's it. We don't need to write essays to each other, right? But this girl and this guy, so this girl, she speaks in essays to me, and the guy writes in essays to me. So like, I noticed that he was kind of doing the same thing as well when he was like writing up all of these really detailed summaries about like the projects that I had to manage. And he said something about, oh, he kept saying to me, like he kept making suggestions to me about how you should do this preemptively, or you should like mention how you started on this project already to our manager so that he'll have a good impression of you. And I'm like, okay, I understand where he's coming from. Like he thinks that he's giving me advice to make a good impression. But dude, I don't have to do shit to prove anything to anyone, okay? Because guess what? The manager loves me. Like and even when I'm like asking him, I would, okay. So there was a couple of days where the guy that's training me, he was on vacation the whole week last week, and then the girl was on vacation for Thursday and Friday. So it was only me and my manager for Thursday and Friday last week. And like he freaking loves me. He's like, "Oh, is there anything you need?" And I'm literally and like when you know how men love to just be useful, like if you ask them for help, it makes them feel all macho. It makes them feel like they're important. So I would literally just ask him for like the most mundane things that of course I could get for myself. Like I wanted one of those wireless headsets that other people I saw they were using during meetings and stuff. And I know like I've been here for 2 weeks. I already know what the process is. I know that you have to go to the help desk, the IT help desk in the back in order if you want to request anything like equipment or accessories, things of that nature. But I asked my manager so that he could feel useful, right? And I was like, "Hey, can I get headphones?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And like he literally took me to he like took me himself to the cupboard, and he just grabbed a new headset and like brought it up to the IT help desk and was like, "Hey, she needs this. Do we need to submit a ticket or something?" Like obviously I could have done that myself without getting him involved. And I feel like, with the girl that I was training with, that's what she would have done, because she would have felt like it was not appropriate or something, whatever reasoning that has um she would have felt like she would have felt like being a burden, right? To come to the manager with such a mundane request. But no, like I know how to play this social game. I know how to bring the fun vibes and the fun energy. And I know that it's infectious, right? That's the thing. I know that it's contagious. This like light, feminine, playful energy. It's contagious. It's, I would say, intoxicating, but not, it's like people just can't help but join in on it, okay? Because they see that you're over there having so much fun, and they're like, why? How is she doing that? Maybe I want some of that. And even if they're not overt about it, right? Like a lot of people, especially in Japan, they'll hold back still. Like they won't just completely follow your lead when you show them a different way of living. But a lot of people do take notice, and they will like respond positively. People respond to the energy that you give out, right? This is like very simple manifestation 101. So yeah, when my manager says things to me like, "Oh, ask me for anything that you need. If you need any help, just ask me." I'm taking his word for it, right? Like I know what he actually means by that, which is that he wants us to have like open communication, right? He wants us to build like a nice friendly rapport. Even though we're at work and we're doing very serious things, it doesn't need to be like that all the time. So yeah, I would ask him to get me a headset. I would ask him like, "Oh, where are the notes for this project? Oh, I'm just reading up on this project because I have a meeting with the client manager next week, so I just want to make sure that I get caught up. Even though I know, like, obviously I can find the notes by myself, but it's an easy enough thing that, like, it's an easy win, right? So go for the easy wins. That's another surefire word. Oh, shit. Okay, I just spilled my tea. I feel like it's not a Strawberry Lily live stream unless I spill something. But you know the funny thing, I literally got some of it on my eyelash. The funny thing is that I actually choked on this earlier when I was filming a makeup video today. Like I choked within an inch of my life for like 10 minutes straight. Totally understand the energy, put it out there. Yeah. So, what was I saying? I completely lost. I have like a puddle of tea on the floor, but it's okay. I can mop it up later. Yeah, see, even then, like I'm not stressed, okay? What is there to be stressed up about? You know, life is good. And the sun's coming out now. But what is there to be stressed out about? There's nothing like I remember when I was young, whenever I would like knock stuff over or break something, my mom would get so stressed out, which is typical. Like, this is not just me. I'm not bashing my mom in particular. Like, a lot of moms get like this. She'll be like, no, what are you doing? Why are you so clumsy? But, like, what is the big deal? We didn't lose anything. It's like, what? It's a $1 drink? And you can just mop it up in 2 seconds. It's no use crying over spilled milk, okay? All of these, like, cliche overused advice that we get ever since childhood, and yet the adults that dole them out to us cannot even follow their own advice. So yeah, I would ask the manager to, like, you know, about stupid little things, because it's better if it's something that I can even figure out for myself, because that means that, like, I'm not putting him on the spot either, right? If I were to ask him like a genuine question about, I don't know, like a blindness in our systems, I mean, that would be fine as well, because he's the type of person, like, he's not, only if you're like insecure about your ability would you be put off by a question like that, but that would actually kind of like open up a bigger discussion. So you have to know like your goal when it comes to interacting with people, whether it's asking them a question or just getting into like some sort of discussion with them. Like, yes, there are two goals, right? When we're talking about a work scenario like this, there's the goal of actually understanding the tasks and the work at hand, but then there's also the goal of communicating to people that, hey, like, I'm an ally, not a foe. I'm cooperative. I'm here to do a good job, but I'm not like desperate, you know? So I don't need your approval. I don't need to like bend over backwards to prove to people that I deserve to be here. I'm already here, so clearly I deserve to be here. You guys offered me the position, so clearly I deserve to be here. That's not arrogance, that's just a fact, right? But I'm showing you that, hey, like, as while I'm here, I'm going to be in good spirits, I'm going to be cooperative, and a great way to do that, especially when it comes to like people that are higher up than you in the work hierarchy, like your manager or whoever, a great way to do that is to ask them like not so hard questions, but not something stupid either. Obviously, you're not going to ask them how to formulate like VLOOKUP in Excel, which you can just look up on Google. But, you know, ask them like, okay, I can't find this particular file that I'm looking for. Can you tell me where it is? Oh, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Oh, yeah, so this is, you know, and then in the process, like, they're just going to tell you anyway. They're going to fill you up to speed verbally anyway, which is going to get you faster to your understanding of the whole thing than if you were to just try to figure everything else out, figure everything out by yourself. Happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you. Yeah, so remember, you are the party, okay? You are the fun. Girls just want to have fun. And you don't have, so my point with telling those two stories about my coworkers, so the female coworker that constantly kept trying to push this narrative onto me that my life is going to be so stressful and hard at this job. Like, no, I reject that. Okay, respectfully, I appreciate that you're trying to, like, this is her way of acknowledging that I have, a lot of responsibilities, that I'm a hard worker, etc. But I reject it. Okay, because my life is not going to be anything but fabulous. And also the guy who was similarly trying his best to help me and give me advice, like, oh, you should do this and that. You should show our manager that you're like ahead of the game, one step ahead of the curve. You're not just waiting for people to explain everything to you, but you're like taking action. You're being proactive about learning about all of our different projects. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna do that, but like in my own vibey style, okay, in my own, like, what's the word, effortless style. I'm not going to do it from this place of like trying to prove myself to someone the way that he was suggesting, which was not coming from a place of ill intent, but I reject that idea that I need to come from a place of like desperation or reverence. Of course I'm going to be reverent. Is that the right word? I'm going to be respectful, obviously, of my superiors, quote unquote, but they also need to respect me, though, as a fellow human being, you see. And if I was working at a place that doesn't respect people, regardless of their titles, then I will literally leave so fast that you'll get whiplash. Like, I will literally look for jobs on my lunch break at work and find a new job and leave. Like, that's your power. You have the right to make your life fun, and you have the right to leave. Even if the situation is not ideal, you can still make it fun. But if you still feel after you've done your feminine magic, after you've done your best with the situation, and if you still feel like, you know what, this is just not even matching my vibes, you have the right to leave at any time and find a better situation for you. You need to go where you are celebrated, and like, yeah, you need to go to people, places, situations that match your vibe. Okay. You owe that much to yourself. I got a haircut. I think I mentioned that already, but I should have gotten it a long time ago. And I'm so glad that I decided to get these wispy bangs because I think I look super cute. I should have gotten this a long time ago. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I could have given in to the thought that, oh, I'm too tired. Like, I need to go home. I need to sleep. I need to prioritize sleep. I was thinking, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't get hair or nails or anything until my first paycheck comes in, because I really do, like, damn, I got so many bills, girl. Um, you really notice it when you have no income coming in for 4 months straight. Even though, like, I even got some support, what's it called? Like unemployment support from Hello Work in Japan. So I got, like, it wasn't a huge amount, but I got at least, I think, 60% of my income that I had at my previous job for the past 2 months. And like, I don't know where all of that money went. I think it all went to taxes, like, literally. And I still have more taxes. Like, I have a $900 residence tax, whatever, bill due September 2nd. I'm like, but how am I supposed to pay this, though? How was I supposed to pay that if I didn't get a job so quickly? Because, some people, like, the job market is hard nowadays. Although I don't subscribe to that belief either. But okay, it's tedious, we'll say, right? Because there's a lot of hoops that you have to jump through, and job postings are kind of like a mess these days. So I could have easily been searching for 6, 8, 10 months, like up to a year even. And I'm just thinking that that's crazy, because there's no way I would have been able to survive on the unemployment payments alone for a year. But I guess that's why I manifested this job that pays a lot more. But yeah, I look so much better with bangs. I was scared to get them because, my hair is already kind of thin, so I felt like, if I get bangs, it's gonna be even thinner. But then I realized that, like, I still swoop my hair, like, I still swoop this piece in the front to the side anyway, whether they're short or long. So even if I put my hair up in a ponytail, which I never do, but if I do that, like, this piece would never get factored into the ponytail anyway. So yeah, and also the girl told me. So this is a new salon that I went to in Ginza, because they have really nice salons there, much better than the stuff available in Chofu, like Tokyo countryside, is what I call it. And so the girl was telling me, like, we should give you some shorter bangs. It's gonna look really cute. And I was like, really? I don't know. My hair is kind of thin, so I'm just kind of scared to make it look even thinner. And she was like, no, no, no. If I give you bangs, it's gonna look more voluminous. And then she also cut, like, this part here, so right next to my this one, like right next to my ears, she cut it. Okay, I lost it. She cut a piece like super short, right? Because where is it? Yeah, like this piece. See how it's a lot shorter? Because this actually, again, like when I blow dry my hair properly, I know it's kind of sweaty and stringy right now, but when I really like style it properly, it's also going to give the illusion of more volume because it's shorter, so it can like stick up. I don't know if that makes sense. If it was long, it would just like, hang down like the rest of my hair. So that actually makes it look flatter. But since she cut these pieces near my ears, they're gonna like fan out and make it look more voluminous. You do look super cute. Love your aesthetic. Happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you. Yeah. I feel like oh my god. No. I'm thinking of a story that I kind of want to tell, but I kind of don't because I'm honestly like very traumatized. Don't worry, nothing serious happened, but I'm just like it's kind of like, okay, what did you expect? But I don't know. I was hoping that he was different, but he's not, I guess. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just going to continue to get hotter and better. And he's like no, he's going to see me in his nightmares. But I will be the last thing he thinks about before he goes to sleep. Maybe I should friend his friends on Instagram. Okay. Sorry. So this is an unrelated thing. So yeah, I was thinking about a guy. It's not important. There's a different guy though that I think this next story kind of amused me because so you guys know there's this whole controversy going down with Blake Lively with the new movie, her new movie It Ends With Us, but she's being outed right now. She's kind of being exposed for being a mean girl essentially. What shade of lipstick are you wearing? It looks super cute. I am wearing this Fui Blurry Pudding Pot. Lip and cheek blurry pudding pot. So this is a duo lip and cheek color. And I've been meaning to do a dedicated video on Fui because they have just been popping off lately. Think about Tear's virality in the past year. I feel like now it's Fui's turn. But yeah, they gave me a free keychain with purchase as well. So I put some of this in the keychain. I actually don't think that, I mean, it's a very cute concept, but I don't think I'm the kind of person to actually even use these. But I'll put it on my bag for fun. I don't like this as a blush color. Actually, it's a little bit too cool toned, but it's really good as a lip color. This is probably my favorite matte lip formulation at the moment because it's so lightweight and it's actually blurring, and it doesn't like completely lose the matteness even if I have like a little bit of chapstick or something on underneath because I find that with a lot of other matte lipstick formulas, I know you're not supposed to wear an oily base on, but sometimes, I like to have my chapstick on, and it turns those other matte formulations into glossy formulations. But with this one, it keeps the matte blurring effect pretty well. So yeah, Fui. They have it Anya style if you're outside of Asia. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the Blake Lively controversy. Um, so the just to give a quick synopsis, I literally just heard about this a few minutes ago. So forgive me if I don't know all the details, but basically it is based on this book. The new movie is called It Ends With Us, and it's based on a book by Colleen Hoover, or I mean, it is the movie adaptation of the book about a girl in an abusive relationship. I think like a married couple, and the wife is being abused by the husband. Am I going to get demonetized for saying the A word? So it's about DV, essentially, right? It's a very serious topic, but Blake Lively's interviews throughout the whole press junket have been very unserious. Like, she will not be serious about the subject matter. There was one clip where this guy asked her, like, if there are people who watch this film who have gone through similar things in their real life, how can they talk to you about this, or like what would you say to them, something like that. And she gave the most disgusting, like passive aggressive response. It was disgusting. It was like, she was like, oh, they can WhatsApp. She was like, what did she even say? She was like, oh, drop a pin, right? Or like maybe they can, what's my location? Maybe they can ask for what my location is. Maybe they can use an app to find me. Like, and then she was being super passive aggressive. Like, she tried to play it off as, oh, I'm just joking, but you can tell, like, no, you were just being a bitch. Because she was like, oh, I'm a Virgo, so you have to be more specific when you ask me questions. That was not a difficult question. Okay, you knew exactly what the person was asking, and they were not like putting her on the spot, because that's literally the subject matter of the movie. So I think it's very reasonable for the interviewer to ask you a question. Like, I think it's very reasonable to assume that the actors or whoever is involved in the project is passionate about or wants to bring more awareness to issues of DV, like marital DV, things like that. And so, yeah, if you contrast her behavior, especially with her co-star, who is Justin Baldini, he's been very, although I don't think he's like 100% innocent, to be honest. I know that everyone is kind of like, okay, everyone is kind of trying to push back on the Me Too movement now, because I feel like during Me Too, this is what happens with any type of social movement, right? You kind of go really far into, like, you go really gung ho into one movement, Me Too. And so in the process, some people do get hurt, right? Like, there are some bad actors who took advantage of the Me Too movement. I'm talking about women that maybe like wrongfully accused innocent men of doing things to them that they didn't actually do. But because the Me Too movement was gaining so much traction, and like the whole believe all women thing was taken very seriously by the public, then there were some casualties that arised out of that, in the form of like men that were actually innocent, that actually did not, do SA on women, but they were just like accused, or um yeah, like unfortunately accused by a vindictive woman who wanted to bring them down for whatever reason. So yeah, disappointed with her, Blake. There were longtime rumors that she's a mean girl for a while now. So yeah, like I feel like with the Me Too movement, after the first wave happened, then people started getting upset. Like, maybe mostly men started to get upset, and they started to push back on it. And the one watershed moment, I would say, that really kind of started to change the tides, like that kind of made it safe for people that were not completely on board with Me Too to push back, was the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, which I believe was a case of ABUSC on both sides. That's my personal belief. But I think, honestly, this is just my personal belief, I think mostly on Johnny's side, because we're talking about a guy that is like 25 years older than her at the time, who has been in the industry longer than her. He's been a veteran in the industry. He has connections. He has the status. Please, you're not going to convince me that Johnny Depp is some like abused, battered house husband by some 20 something year old ingenue that just came into the industry. Like, I don't care. So, yeah. But I feel like with that case, a lot of men felt vindicted. No, that's not the word. What's the word? Oh my God, I'm blinking. Vindicated. A lot of guys felt vindicated, right? Like the ones that felt that they were being unfairly judged or unfairly persecuted by the Me Too movement. And I feel like this is kind of an extension of that, relating to the whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldini, It Ends With Us movie. Like now people are painting Justin out to be a saint. And I'm saying I do think that like Justin, he's looking very good so far. We'll see in the end how everything plays out. But so far, like I'll give it to him. Yeah, I think that he's been very respectful during this tour. I think it's very admirable that he has kept the focus on the themes of DV and how important of an issue it is that we have to combat as a society. All of his interviews have been consistently like focused on that note. I also do think that there's a PR team behind that though, because he actually hired Johnny Depp's PR team. So I don't know if that it's so crazy. It's so meta because it feels like that in itself is kind of a PR move, right? Like you hired Johnny Depp's PR team. That's the part that gives me pause about him. But so far, when it comes to like between Blake and Justin, I would say I'm on Team Justin for sure right now because Blake is just acting like a cunt. I never paid attention to her like that, but from the clips I saw, she gives mean girl vibes. Like the girl from high school who acted nice to you in your face, but was obviously mocking you. Yes, me too. I also never really paid attention to her. I only remember like back in the day. So I think her first movie was Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. And then after that, she got cast in Gossip Girl, right? And that's when like the rest is history or her story. But I just remember like I saw this one interview of hers where she basically said that I mean she's a nepo baby at the end of the day because her family, like her siblings and everyone, were all involved in the entertainment industry. She has a lot of brothers and sisters, and a lot of them are actors. And I just remember her saying that she never wanted to get into acting because she didn't want to do like the typical she didn't want to follow the typical family business. But then one day, her brother or somebody forced her to audition for this movie, and since she's just so tall, blonde and beautiful, they had to have her cast in the movie. She was forced to become an actress because she just fit the mold too perfectly. Like she was too beautiful and blonde and cookie cutter Hollywood starlet to not be an actress. That's the way that she recounted it, at least in the interview, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. I mean, hey, at least she's like owning the fact that she's a nepo baby. But I think she's very, very out of touch. And okay, so I bring this up, like I wouldn't even care about this if it wasn't for the fact that I think it's so ironic that the last guy that I went on a date with in Dubai. So I actually this is so funny. I canceled a date last minute with a guy because he was getting like snippy about the time. And yeah, I don't, especially so like the guys that I went on dates with last time in July, most of them were from Bumble. When I went back in April, I did have a few dates from actual in-person meetings at like networking events. So this time I tried to recreate the same thing, but I feel like the magic is not quite there in the summer in Dubai. Like I don't know. It's not dead or anything. Like I enjoyed summer. It was very, very peaceful. And there were people there. It wasn't empty like some people claimed, but it was just like a lot of the energy was missing because you can feel, yeah, it is true that everything is kind of at a standstill. Like Global Village is not open. A lot of the events that the events that I went to in April, the companies that were hosting those events, they halted operations in the summer because I guess there's just not enough people around for for the participation that they want. And also it's just too hot. It's literally just too damn hot to do anything or go anywhere before like 8 p.m. So yeah, I ended up going on a few dates with people from Bumble. There was this one guy that I was supposed to go on a date with, but then he started getting weird about like he was saying that he wanted to pick me up at like 10 p.m. and I was like, that's kind of late, you know. Like I understand that you're coming from work and whatnot. Oh, he was I think he had his own business. So I was like, hey, that's really impressive, but do you think we can make it like 9 p.m.? And then he was like, No, because he told me either 9 or 10 p.m. So I was like, okay, well, if you're giving me a choice, I would prefer 9 p.m. And then he just got like a weird attitude. He was like, oh, so you don't want to go out late? Like, do you have a problem with lateness? I'm like, no, you said 9 or 10. So I'm like hoping that it could be 9 because I don't want to be out. I don't want to like go out at 10 and then who knows when we're going to get back. So yeah, I decided not to go on the date with him because I didn't like his tone. Because if you can't even hold yourself together when it comes to like discussing what time to pick someone up or to meet someone, then that's not the type of person that I need to be interacting with, male or female, right? Like when I coordinate even just with my girlfriends for lunch or something, nobody gets an attitude about time. Like that's not a thing. Like why are you so bothered and unhealed that you get an attitude with somebody about literally just trying to decide the time that you're trying to meet? That has nothing to do with me, right? It sounds like a you problem, bro. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Her and Ryan Reynolds got married at a plantation. Red flag with that couple. Yeah, I heard about that. That is crazy. And the fact that that was like cleaned up, because I vaguely remember hearing about that when it actually happened, like in real time, however many years ago it was, but like somehow it just got glossed over because those two are protected, I guess, by the press. But yeah, no. So uh, this date story is gonna tie in with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Just trust me with this. So yeah, not all men, right? So some men get triggered by the smallest things. You want to stay away from those men because they're unhealed and they're not going to be able to, if they can't handle a discussion about time to meet for the date, then they cannot handle anything when it comes to actual serious discussions about a relationship. And we're not even talking about like something that might warrant an annoyed reaction, like if you're late or something. Okay, that I understand. People have been late picking me up. I've been actually, I am not really late ever because I make it a priority to not be late. But I don't really I don't make it a big deal if someone's late because that's why I always make them pick me up. That way, even if they're late, at least like I still don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna wait for them to get here. So I canceled a date with him. By that time, it was like 9:45. It was really late. It was like 9:45 p.m. And I was kind of annoyed because no, it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, it was like almost 10. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll just go out by myself, or I was trying to figure out what to do, right? Or I could just like go to sleep because I still had a couple of days left. But then I was like, you know what? I can get a date within 15 minutes if I wanted to. I can get another date lined up. And so that's exactly what I did. I went on Bumble and I swiped again on a bunch of profiles. And there was this one guy that like messaged me first. He was like, "Hey, what are you up to tonight?" And I was like, "I'm debating whether or not I want to go out for shisha tonight because it's already so late, but I don't know. Like, I'm only here for a week, so I want to make the most of my time." And then he was like, "Where are you? I can pick you up if you want to go somewhere nearby." And so that is how I got a date in less than 15 minutes. And he was I don't want to get too much into him because it's not really important, but he was a nice guy. Like he was a decent guy. I could tell that he was very like burned in the past probably though from like ex-girlfriends or I don't know. He started talking about gold diggers on the date. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I didn't really like the vibes when he first picked me up because it felt like he was giving me the vibes of like he didn't want to give me compliments, right? Like it felt like he was holding back at first. Like he wanted to see how I was going to act first to see if I would be worth the compliments and the princess treatment that he would later on give me. So I didn't really like that. I mean, he acted like a gentleman from the beginning to the end, but I could just feel this energy within him that he wanted to like hold back to make sure that I was worth it before he gave me anything else. So like for example, he didn't immediately tell me like how beautiful I looked. He said something indirect. He was like, "Oh, your dress is such a great color. Like that's my favorite color." Because I was wearing this turquoise green dress and he was like, "Whoa, that's how did you know green is my favorite color?" But he didn't say anything directly about how I looked cute and beautiful, which I know that I did. But then like by the end of the night, I noticed that his attitude changed completely after he saw like what a bright feminine beam of shining light that I am. Regardless of whether or not you want to be weird and like defensive. And so after he like let his guard down with me, then by the end of the night, he was literally like shouting at me. He was like, "You look so gorgeous." And I was like walking back to my hotel because he dropped me back off, and he was like, "You looked gorgeous tonight." He was like shouting it across to me, like as I was walking to the hotel. So I'm already out of the car by this time, and I noticed that he was like jumping to open the door for me by the end of the date, but in the beginning he didn't open the door for me. So it's not a big deal or anything, but I noticed these things anyway. Yeah, he thinks he's the prize. I don't think. I think like it's complicated. I think the whole prize conversation that has kind of been torpedoed because we were never supposed to say that out loud. Because if you say you're the prize, that's going to trigger the other person for sure, whether you're male or female. Like if I heard a guy say to me that he's the prize, I'm going to be triggered. Okay. Not really. I mean, I don't really care, but I would just like not pay him any more attention after that. But yeah, I think that the whole discussion with the prize, it's played out. We need new vocabulary now. Like I'm already kind of shifting into like a different framework, a different way to frame it because people are way too triggered with the word the prize or with the word like gold digger. I think provider is nice still, like provider, protector, that kind of thing, because that still appeals to their masculine ego. But anyway, he was fine, but like, and then he turned out to be like, really sweet, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but like he turned out to be like he offered to drive me back to the airport um for my flight back to Tokyo, which was actually really really nice, I think. Cuz like most guys, I mean no other guy that I have dated has offered to do that for me. So I think that was a really really significant gesture, right? Regardless of how like weird he was acting in the beginning, I feel like the fact that he followed through with an action of that caliber, I was kind of impressed by that. And especially considering that it's not like he was off, like he still had to work. He worked from home, but he would have he basically did sacrifice like an entire night of sleep in order to take me to the airport, which he didn't even have to do because technically the hotel that I stayed at, it was not that far at all. It was like 20 minutes drive from the airport. I could have easily gotten an Uber, or he could have even paid for an Uber for me if he wanted to still like do something nice for me, but he decided to take me himself. So I thought that was really really nice. But it's just funny because like we were talking in the car, I remember on the second date, like basically the night before I left, we had a date, and then like he waited in his car for 2 hours while I packed because I had to leave at 4 a.m. for the flight. I cannot stand the flight times for this one flight from Haneda to Dubai. Like I don't know how much longer I can take this, but I can only take that flight because it's the only one that doesn't have a transfer. um So yeah, he took me to the airport, and then but before that we had our date, right? So then like during the date while we were driving to the place, I was asking him like, "Oh, do you have like a celebrity crush?" And he said Megan Fox, go figure. But then he was saying he also said she's not my type, but I think that I really like her and her husband. And he mentions Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. He's like, I think that they're just like such a good couple. Like they're just such a power couple, and they just seem like such good people. And I remember side eyeing him in that moment because I was like, oh, is this a red flag? Like the fact that you like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. This is way before the controversy came out with the new movie, right? But even then, I always thought that I was like, okay, I don't know. I feel like I heard some random rumors in the past about maybe it was that the fact that they got married on a plantation. I feel like I didn't remember exactly in the moment, but I remember there was some controversy dealing with them. And also the fact that Ryan Reynolds also has rumors about him that he's not that friendly. He also doesn't look that friendly to me, to be honest. I mean, not that you can judge a person by their looks only, but low key kind of you can though. I'm not talking about like their attractiveness level. I'm talking about like the softness in their face, a certain look in their eyes. This is what I go off of when I'm judging people by their looks, right? I'm not talking about like how objectively handsome or beautiful they are. I'm talking about like you can sense, you can see the tension in somebody's face if they're stressed, right? So if there's somebody who's like at peace, who's a kind person to everyone, I believe that you can see that through their facial features. Blake and Ryan were always painted as the power couple of Hollywood. So I'm not surprised that there were people who fell for the act. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. I was kind of like, when he said that, I was like, really? Are you falling for that? I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible that they're nice people, but I just always had this intuition inside me that it was all an act, right? Like it's fabricated for the press. Because I mean, think about it. Why do you think that they're such an ideal couple? Like, why are you just automatically attributing all these good qualities to them? It's probably because somebody implanted the idea in your mind beforehand, right? Like the media implanted in your mind that, oh, they're so philanthropic. And okay, I will be honest. I did think that like I do kind of at the time I did kind of agree with him about Blake because I remember she had this period where she was really like speaking out about child SA, like child PORN, child corn. I remember, didn't she have that activist period? Okay, maybe it was all an act or a strategy, but still the fact that she like used her platform to speak out against that, I did respect her for that. And especially knowing that, she's a full-time mom, like this new movie is kind of her return to work, right? Return to acting. Social media posts about one another and the fact that they always bring each other up in interviews. Yeah, so like I thought that Blake, at least on the activism front, I thought she was at least trying to do something good. And the fact that she's a mom herself, it makes sense that she would be passionate about an issue like that. So I don't think that that part is necessarily fake, like her advocating for more stringent laws and things like that, like crackdown on people who distribute child corn. Like I remember watching her make a speech about that and tearing up because the subject matter was so heavy, but she seemed like so passionate and dedicated to the cause. So that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not surprised. Like I don't idolize celebrities, okay? So I'm never like surprised or disappointed when things come out about them. Like there are people that okay, let me think about who are like the celebrities that I can count on one hand that I actually kind of really F with. Killian Murphy. Because Killian Murphy is like a pretty boy, right? Like you can't deny his attractiveness, but he seems to genuinely not care. Like he seems to really not care at all about Hollywood outside of the fact that it's his job and it's his art, like he takes it seriously as his art form. But as far as his personal life goes, like he married a normal woman, somebody not in the industry, and he keeps his private life very, very out of the limelight. So I respect Killian Murphy. Um, who else? Tom Hardy is kind of similar, I think. Like everyone thinks he's attractive. He's like this typical Hollywood hunk if you want to talk about physicality, but he also seems to like not care at all about that type of validation, right? Like he just wants to focus on his craft. Um you can tell he loves it and does it because he genuinely loves it. Yeah, you're talking about Killian Murphy, right? I agree with you about Ryan. It's awesome that you have a sixth sense to see it in their facial features. Nobody's perfect. You can't idolize celebrities. It's so true. Yeah, yeah. So like I don't even think it's a sixth sense thing. It's just like maybe some people have a more innate ability than others to sense it in people, but I think it's something that can definitely be learned. You know how I know? It's because I've been on these damn dating apps for the past 8 months and you can really like I'm at the point where okay, I know it's not good. You do have to so I did I have done videos in the past where I have come on here and gone through like actual Bumble profiles with you line by line because you do have to read somebody's profile. But I'm at the point where I honestly like I just swipe on people based on their face, essentially. Like based on their photographs at first. Then later, if they message me, then I will look at their profile. And then if there's red flags in their profiles at that point, then I will unmatch. And I feel like at this point, it's pretty accurate, even if I just swipe based on physicality. Again, not talking about attractiveness level. Yes, that plays somewhat of a factor into it. Like I do have certain um, features that I find handsome or whatever personally, but it's more about because like the guy that I was on a date with for my last day in Dubai, he was asking me this too. He was like, "How can you tell like what guy is safe or like if you want to if you think it's worth it to get to know this person or to meet up with this person, like how what's your thought process about how to vet a guy if he's safe, like even if he and so I told him that honestly for me it comes down to like the expression. I don't even want to use the word expression. It's not, it's more just it's more like it's just the tension in their face, if I want to put it technically. Yeah, because expression is like, okay, you can be happy, you can be sad, you can be intense, because you know some guys smile in their photos, some don't smile. It's not even about that, right? Like just because you don't smile, that doesn't mean that you're mean mugging or anything. That doesn't mean that you're like unhappy. It's the tension levels in their face. Like I can, and there's like certain micro expressions that tell me whether or not a guy is very arrogant and into himself, like the certain way that they like look into the camera, right? Like if they angle themselves this way, they're like looking down at you. Typically, I sense arrogance in that. And it's not something that I want to deal with. It doesn't mean that I will completely write them off. Like it's very, very nuanced. And I think it's a very personal thing, right? So somebody who has a different woman who has the same ability as me to distinguish from somebody's facial expression, whether or not he's like safe, we're still going to have different preferences. But yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to like the tension in the face, in the muscles, and also just their eyes as well. Like whether or not the gaze is relaxed. If it's relaxed, like you can tell if someone's kind or not by the gaze in their eyes. You can tell if they're a really kind person or if they're more on the selfish side or if they're arrogant. Or, you know, in some cases, you can tell some of these guys are seriously disturbed. And those often get an immediate left swipe from me. But yeah, so I just thought it was really funny, like, because he warmed up to me by the second date, right? So he was like doing all this stuff to impress me. He brought me flowers on the second date. He brought me a little statue of the Burj Khalifa. This one. So it was kind of, I thought it was like cute, you know. I'm not gonna forget that he was being like weird and suspicious for no reason, like without even getting to know me first on the first date. But I don't like, he wasn't he was a good guy, right? Like my first intuition was right. He was a decent guy. Like he wanted to do the right thing, but he was just coming off like off-putting at first. And we had a discussion about it during the second date actually, because he was like, you know, I noticed that you kind of like recoil when I ask you certain questions or certain things that you don't want to talk about. You kind of like stiffen up. And I'm like, and he said, I really am not trying to offend you or anything. Like, can you just tell me if I'm doing something wrong? So I was like, okay, yeah, I appreciate that you're like bringing this up and you're communicating like a decent person. So I was like, yeah, we can talk about it. And so I told him that I just get the sense, maybe I'm wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems like you were holding back, like you were being overly cautious. And if you want my 2 cents, you know, like you don't have to accept this advice or anything, but if you want my 2 cents, I told him, I told this to the guy, you don't have to like, what did I say? Like being, you know, you should know the kind of person that you are, right? You're confident in the kind of person that you are. So if you're a gentleman, if you're a good guy, a nice guy, you want to take care of a woman properly, like you want to fulfill the traditional masculine role of being a provider and whatnot in a relationship, then that's how you should show up, right? Regardless of what the woman is. So even if she does turn out to be a bitch or a gold digger, or like he was talking to me about his ex and how he got her 4 different birthday gifts. Like 2 of them were designer and 2 of them were more like personalized. So he got her like a little personalized bracelet and one no brand thing and then two designer things. And he said that he was like really sad when she only expressed excitement or gratitude for the designer items. So, and I don't even have an opinion on that because guess what? I'm only hearing his side of the story, right? Like I'm not hearing her side of the story. So for all we know, that could have just been his perception that she wasn't grateful, but maybe she actually was, but she was just excited about the designer item, you know? Like you're the one that takes it to mean that she only cares about labels and stuff. Maybe she just really wanted that Louis Vuitton wallet. Anyway, the point is, like he was telling me these stories, so then it kind of made sense to me. Like, oh, okay, so you're afraid of like getting played or getting bled dry by a girl that's only after your money. But the thing is, like, if this is what I told him. I said, if you're like confident in who you are, that you're gonna be like you're a gentleman no matter what, right? So you're going to treat a woman right. You're gonna compliment her and open the car door for her, all of that stuff. So if you do that and she turns out to be like really ungrateful and rude, let's say, that takes nothing away from you. Do you understand that? Like actually it even highlights more how much of a gentleman you are and like how it highlights your good qualities even more if the person that you're with is demonstrating the opposite. So that was just my little advice to him. And he was like, you know what, you have a point. But yeah, then he said that he was like a fan of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. I don't think this is going to work. Like, you fell for that? But yeah, Ryan Reynolds, I don't know much about him. I just feel like there were some weird stories about him back in the day that he was like, I don't know. Going back to the whole expression thing, right? I just don't like his facial expression. I feel like there's something sinister in there. And I feel like they get whatever's coming to them, they deserve. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at Ryan Reynolds right now. Let me pull him up on my screen. Do you guys know somebody who looks like Ryan Reynolds? Like a look-alike, another actor that looks like him but is not him? Because that would be really helpful if I could compare the two and kind of describe like what exactly is this thing I'm picking up on in Ryan that is off-putting that would not be off-putting in a sorry, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. No, like what am I picking up in that is off-putting in Ryan that is not present in another guy that maybe looks the same as him? So yeah. See this face I'm making? That's my raw reaction, you know, before I can even put it in words, before I can even verbalize. It's just giving like he has like that douche smirk. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like that, like when you see the forehead wrinkles come out like this, and I'm not saying that everyone that has forehead wrinkles gives me these vibes, but you have to look at the whole expression as a totality, right? So I'm not talking about his features. Like he has hooded eyes. Okay, so you know, hooded eyes have a certain effect as opposed to very open eyes, but you can still have hooded eyes and have like bright, welcoming expression, if you know what it means. If you know what I mean. Ryan Gosling, I'm not a fan of Ryan Gosling personally, but I will say that he definitely grew on me after the Barbie movie. Yeah, that's a good that's a good one actually. Thanks, Jenny. So Ryan Gosling, you see, it's kind of similar. Like he also has hooded eyes. He's also smiling, but it's not in that douche way. And I'm sorry I cannot come up with a better vocabulary word than douche. But like you see, there's a softness to his eyes. It's not just because they're blue. It's not because they're baby blue, right? Even if they were brown, there's just like a softness to his expression. Like he doesn't have that putting on airs the way that I feel Ryan Gosling has. See, look, every single picture, right? And you have to look at a bunch, right? Because sometimes people just take a bad picture. But even here, it's like, look, you can see that his face is even clearly asymmetrical. Like one eye is different from the other, but it's a very relaxed expression. It's very like relaxed is the word I'm looking for. Like very demure, very cutesy, not doing too much. Okay, very mindful. Okay, he's not like these other Ryans out here. He's not like the other Ryan Reynolds of the world. They're doing too much. He seems easygoing. Yeah, exactly. But Ryan Reynolds, I just feel like it feels like he's masking this temper, or I don't know. Okay. See, this one puts him in a better light. I feel like this is a better photo. He seems to be in higher spirits this day, but there's still some sort of tension. I don't know if you can see around his mouth. If you're picking up on that, that gives me pause. Like, okay, so he's like pursing his lips. It's not because his lips are thin. It's like he's physically pursing them. Like, I don't know, he's trying to hold something back. And yeah, the douche smirk again. I'm not a fan of the douche smirk. It's their micro expressions, exactly. Ariana, I missed your message. It's very mature of him to ask and accept your advice. Many men can't handle critiques from women. Yeah, also like the way I say it, I feel like I make sure to say you can say anything you want. This is what I want you guys to understand. As a woman, like especially as a feminine girl that presents very feminine, like very cutesy, very demure, you can say anything you want as long as it's in a nice tone, like a patient, non-judgmental, soft tone. It's so funny because I went on a date right before I went to Dubai, actually, like the night before. I'd be out here in these streets, okay? Demure though, mindful, cutesy. But I went on a date with this other guy before I went to Dubai, and he just kept saying over and over again, he was like, "Oh my God, I love your voice. Like, I'm addicted to your voice," which is so interesting because, like, yes, I did make conscious effort to kind of change my voice a little bit. I feel like right now this is my natural voice at this point. But if I look back at my YouTube videos from like 5 years ago, I feel like my voice was so grating in those. It was very like agitated, masculine. But nowadays, I wouldn't know how to react to that. No, you just say like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you." Just be cutesy and demure. I think that's I think that's the winning strategy for life. Cutesy and demure. Not doing too much. Unless it's a situation that requires doing the most. Because there are certain situations like that in life, but you have to be sure to be able to differentiate them from the rest of the 90% of life. But yeah, if you say, you'd be surprised. Like, as long as you're, the reason that a lot of men get triggered is because a lot of women, I'm not like blaming this on women or anything. I'm just saying if you want a strategy that kind of ensures that, or it lowers the risk of guys getting like super triggered at you, just say whatever you need in like a soft feminine tone and be mindful of the words that you use. So I didn't like accuse him of anything. I wasn't shaming him. I was just saying, because he asked me the question. He was like, I just want to know if I'm making you uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to come off as rude or uncomfortable, or, you know, I don't want you to be offended. So please let me know if there's anything I'm doing wrong. So I was like, okay, well, since you asked, because if you didn't ask, I'm not just going to like give him unsolicited advice. But I'm like, since you asked, I just kind of got personally, this is kind of the vibe that I got from you. If my assumption is wrong, please feel free to correct me. But this is just how I interpreted your approach to me in the beginning. And he was like, yeah, no, I wasn't trying to be like, yeah, this is very important too, because sometimes like this requires a lot of humility on our part as well, because we need to also be open to the fact that we don't get everything right on the first try. Even after I said all that stuff about how I can tell just by a picture, just by an expression or a micro expression, what a guy is all about, you still have to be open to the fact that you might not necessarily be right in your first assumption, right? So, especially if the person is like wanting to have a conversation and wanting to clear things up, you need to be open to their point of view, even if you still feel okay. So even after he was like trying to explain himself that no, I wasn't being cautious, it's just that I was like, I just wanted to like get to know you, get to know where your mind is at, things like that. That's his I accept that that is his perception of it. Like that's what he truly believes in his mind. I should stop waving this around. In his mind, he truly believes that that's the place that he was coming from, but he still needs to acknowledge that it doesn't come across that way to me, right? You're coming across as if you're like being very cautious and you want me to almost to like audition and prove myself to you. Like the way that he was asking certain questions, I was like, okay. At one point I straight up was like, I don't really like this question. Like this is not fun. I'm here to have fun and to have a relaxing time. Like I don't like the interview direction that this is going into. I'm not sure if this is how you act on all your dates, or I don't know if you've been burned in the past by other women that have. And so, like, I said that to him too as well. I was like, you told me um, the stories about like your ex and how a lot of women here in Dubai, they're only out for money and status and things like that. And I actually empathize with that, right? Like I can see how that can be very frustrating for guys, especially the ones that want a genuine relationship. Like they need to deal with women, a lot of women out here who are like very self-serving, I guess you could say, in their dating goals. And I can see how that can be frustrating to you as a guy, especially if you're the one that's like paying for all the dates and stuff. You don't want to like waste a lot of time and money and resources. But the thing is that none of those past experiences that you have and like none of other those other women that are giving you this paranoia, they don't have anything to do with me, right? You already decided to go on a date with me. So like by that point, if you decide to go on a date with me, that means that we're going to do this in good faith, right? Like you should come in with the assumption that this is why I say it all goes back to your own self-confidence. Like you need to be confident in yourself that you're going to pick a decent person, right? You need to be confident in your own um, powers of discernment, that you know how to tell like a decent woman from a bad one. If you don't trust yourself, then obviously you're not going to trust anyone that you go on a date with. But in my world, like in my definition, I would say I would consider that as acting out of bad faith, right? Because I also take a risk every time I go on a date with someone, right? I also deal with guys that only want to sleep with me or like only want me for my body. They just want to get a cheap kiss at the end of the night. They think that like paying for my dinner, picking me up, they think that I owe them my body just because of that. But I didn't go into this date with the paranoia of those guys in mind. I came into this date focused on you, right? Like trying to get to know the wonderful person that I'm sure you are. And I've also like, I've had worse, I'm sorry, dude, I'm sorry, but categorically, I've had worse experiences than you. Okay, you're talking about you bought a bunch of gifts for this girl for her birthday, which is great, by the way, like A plus boyfriend material, right? 4 gifts for her birthday, and then you're like upset that she was only happy about the designer item. I got actually SA'd though when I was 19 by a man that was twice my age, which I never brought up. Like, I don't bring these things up during first dates because that has nothing to do with the new guy that I'm seeing. I've healed myself already. Like, I've done the work to heal myself. That's my responsibility. That is not every other guy's responsibility out here to reassure me that that's not going to happen again, right? This is why I say that everyone needs to attend therapy at least once in their life. Yeah, so this we had a really nice conversation. Like I'm glad that he, brought it up. I'm glad that he was open, like he wanted to have a conversation. So I didn't want to I wasn't like I don't like to go into the territory of shaming anybody, but yeah, I did kind of have to give it to him straight at one point, like, dude, listen, I've been essayed before. I've been in like really terrible situations with men that with a guy that like took advantage of me, and then I was actually in a relationship with him for over a year because I didn't know that that was SA. I thought that that was just how everyone's relationship started. So you don't see me like bringing that up here or using that as an excuse to be like overly cautious with you or ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that you prove yourself to me before. Like, no, we already agreed to go on this date, so let's do it in good faith, right? Like, don't come at it from an angle of she needs to prove herself to me before I give her anything, even something as simple and basic as a compliment. Like, that's just good manners. That's just chivalry, right? So if you identify as a chivalrous gentleman, then it doesn't matter. Even if I am like a gold digger or even if I'm just using you, that reflects poorly on me, not you. You were still the gentleman. You still complimented the girl. You still took her out to a nice dinner, etc. And so yeah, but then I blocked him after I got back to Tokyo because he just kept like watching my stories on Instagram and not really like reaching out to me. So yeah, I don't know what you hope to accomplish by just watching my stories, bruh. And that's how you do it, you know? Savage and sweet. It's funny though, because the guy that I dated, that I went on a date with before Dubai, I asked him to come pick me up at the airport for when I came back. And then he never got back to me. Like, so we never spoke again after the first date. But it's just funny how I manifested another guy to bring me to the airport while I was in Dubai. Because I move quick, okay? Because I am the party and I bring the fun to every situation. It's not like a manifestation is not a passive experience. Life happens through you. So, but my petty side is kind of like very satisfied with myself though, because I feel like I basically, I mean, that's pretty badass, you know? Somebody like promised to pick you up at the airport and then literally just ghosted, which is just bad manners all around. It's not even like a guy girl thing. I would never promise to, like, if you can't or if you didn't want to pick me up at the airport, then don't say that you're going to do it, you know? That just means that you're a person that doesn't follow through on your word. And I don't want anything to do with you, whether you're a girl or a guy, if you can't match your words to your actions. And I'm going to manifest another guy to bring me to the airport regardless. So it's just a matter of if you want to be the one or not. I love how easily you get men to do things for you. I find it amusing. Yeah, well, I could teach you. But oh, this is another topic. Should I touch in it? Where are we? Oh, we are at 2 hours. Wow. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. I've just been having so much fun. Like, I love chilling and talking to you guys. It's just like I'm out at lunch or brunch with a girlfriend or something. My throat so hurts, so sorry. I'm like trying not to put too much strain on my voice, but no, I was thinking the other day about this whole like dating coach thing. You know, there's a lot of coaches that teach this stuff, right? About like how to get a man to treat you right, how to get princess treatment, that type of stuff. And I realized that okay, I'm not trying to because I know some people in that industry, like some coaches. I came to the conclusion for myself that basically if the person who's coaching me or yeah, like if the person who is offering these services doesn't have what they're claiming that they can help you get in their life already, then I don't want to hear anything from them. Like it to me, it's useless. It's basically just an echo chamber. Unless you have actual results. Like for example, if you're teaching women on how they can find an affluent husband or like I don't know, break into an affluent circle, right? Like a higher class than you were born into, and then find a man and get him to propose to you, get him to provide for you so that you don't have to work, like you can work from home on your own business, something like that. Unless you literally are living that lifestyle, I don't want to hear it. And the paradox of the whole coaching business is that you never know for sure. Okay, even if, okay, I'm thinking of one person in particular that I still kind of follow in terms of regarding her femininity content, because she actually has been married for a long time. And from what I know, from what I can see, she is pretty much supported by her husband. Um, and I only know this because her channel has been relatively small for the entire time that I followed her. And I feel like, I mean, part of it could just be because she never really popped off like that, but I think part of it is also because she doesn't have to, like, she doesn't have to hustle as hard as she can to make her social media thing work, because she actually does have a provider husband who takes care of her. Like, if she decided to quit the whole social media thing tomorrow, she would be fully taken care of. And that's the only coach that I'm kind of listening to at the moment. Even her, I don't agree with everything that she says, because I feel like some of her content veers into too much of like the man hating territory. I'm not really with the man hating stuff, but I get where she's coming from though. Like, I appreciate the nuance that she brings to the conversation. And I feel that I feel like she's a rare case because it's a paradox, right? If you really were in a relationship, like hypergamous relationship, whatever you want to call it, where you were married, it doesn't even have to be hypergamous. You just have to have a man that makes a decent amount of money that can support you, like according to, the living costs of this day and age. As long as he makes enough money to give you guys a decent lifestyle to where you don't have to work and you don't have to worry about bringing in an extra income, why would you feel the need to be online and hustling this hard to make courses and like make money off of desperate single women that are looking for their provider husband? You know what I mean? It just doesn't, the math doesn't math. No matter what you do, no matter how much they want to claim that they're doing this to help other women, they want to help women get out of the trap of like 50-50 relationships and being unfulfilled in their marriage, or like unfulfilled doing a job that they hate because they can't find a man to provide for them. I don't, it, it's just like the advice that I always give people when it comes to guys. Like, my advice is that you only judge a man's actions, full stop. Never what they say. You can indulge in what they say in the sense that, okay, if they're whispering sweet nothings in your ear, you can indulge in the fantasy for the moment, very demure, very cutesy. But after that fantasy is over, like after he's done whispering the sweet nothings in your ear, if nothing comes out of that, like for example, if he promises to pick you up at the airport and then he doesn't follow up on it, ghosts you later, doesn't say anything to you later, then that is what you go with, full stop. It's the actions, not the words. It doesn't matter what he says. Anybody, like, they will say literally anything, okay, to be able to sleep with you, basically. But like, what was I saying? Yeah, so I believe that, as much as it pains me to say this, because at this point, like, I don't want to say this about my fellow women, but I have to apply the same mentality to these women dating coaches. I want you all to apply the same mentality. Like, I really don't care how much they claim that they're trying to help women. It may be true, right? Like, I'm sure they are passionate about helping the collective sisterhood, but you're not going to convince me that that takes precedence to lining their own pockets with their business model of trying to coach and sell courses to women who are having trouble in their dating lives or wanting to receive princess treatment from men. Like, why do I need to pay anyone to learn how to do that? It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm saying this like I'm whispering because I have some friends in the coaching industry, but I don't know. I just refuse. Also because, like, I know that nobody's more savage than me. Okay. Um, that's just a fact. Like, whatever techniques or tactics that they can come up with, it's like that one line in Oppenheimer. Theory will only get you so far. You can like read as many books, you can take as many courses on this as you want, and you can go through as many hypothetical scenarios in your head. Unless you are actually actively out there in the field going on real dates with these men, you will freeze up like a deer in headlights when real life situations come up, because guess what, they never go according to the actual script that is presented to you in these courses or these books. Never. It's always like every single dating situation, like almost every single one that I've been in, it has been a scenario that I've never heard anybody like bring it up hypothetically in a book or a course. And at the time when I was like when I was overly reliant on the theory side that was presented in these courses, I would find myself like freezing up. Oh my God, what do I do? Because nobody ever discussed this exact specific scenario in this exact space. Nobody discussed my specific circumstance where I'm like an Chinese American girl who moved to Tokyo 12 years ago. And now I'm going in between Tokyo and Dubai. And now like people are asking me, sometimes the guys think that I'm Japanese. Sometimes I do meet guys that also have the same lifestyle. Like, believe it or not, I think I've stumbled upon kind of like a subset of people that go from Tokyo to Dubai. Like, Tokyo to Dubai. I can't even believe it. It's like they didn't exist until I decided to live this lifestyle, right? But now I realize that, oh, it's a whole group of us that we discovered this secret like sweet spot between Tokyo and Dubai, and we don't want anyone to find out about it because then it'll mess up like the good thing that we have going here, the exclusive club that we have. Yeah, I'm gatekeeping, but I definitely agree with your take. Unless they're giving their advice for free, I always side eye them. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I also, I've had people tell me that I should make a course and I should do coaching and stuff too, which I don't think. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting paid for it. By the way, super chats are open if you want to give me something for my birthday. But like, I don't want to deal with that exact sentiment that you expressed right there, that you side eye people if they're not giving you advice for free. Because to be honest, I feel like I don't mind paying for courses for other things. I have paid for courses before. Some of them have been useful, some of them have been trash. Um, to me, it's water under the bridge because like I decided before paying for the course that I know that there's a risk that the information in here could not actually be that useful. And so like I went into the purchase of the course knowing that that was a possibility and that I was just going to have to take the loss, right? If it turned out to not be useful, I'm not the type of person that's going to like demand for my money back or get upset at the content creator. I'll just never buy something from that creator again. But yeah, as far as the dating advice goes, like, we are in a very transitional period right now, and I'm not going to deny it is very convoluted out there. It's very, very difficult to navigate. But that's why I say that you have to focus on yourself, right? Like, you have to focus on your own confidence because every single action that you take, every decision that you make in any dating scenario, any life scenario in general, even when it comes to like job hunting, because I view job hunting, I bring the same energy to job hunting as I do with dating. Like, I treat different employers or different potential employers as suitors vying for my attention. That's how I was able to get like an amazing job while being employed for the past 4 months. Like, usually people have the perception that it's much harder to get a job when you don't have one already, and they'll ask you a lot of questions about why do you have a gap. No one even asked me anything about that because I went in there with the energy that, yeah, no, this is just like I took a break and I'm looking to change the field that I work in, and I'm just looking for something that will match my experience and my skills the best. And yeah, it's not arrogant, but it's like very much grounded in um my own self-worth. Like, I know what I bring to the table. I know what skills I have that are valuable, even if it doesn't happen to be what the company that I'm interviewing for is looking for. Maybe they're looking for something different, right? Like, I got passed over for 2 positions at Rakuten because they said that like they really liked my personality and everything, but I just didn't have enough technical experience. So after that, what I did, instead of like thinking to myself, because this is what I thought, this is what I would have thought in the past. I would have thought that it's, oh, it's my fault, right? Like, I didn't study enough technical IT related things in college. Like, that's my fault for not having the foresight to pick more technical courses, yada yada. I Instead of reacting in that way, where I'm always just like, this is what we're programmed to do as women since birth, right? We're programmed to like absorb the blame of whatever situation, like especially if the outcome, so if the outcome is bad, we are programmed to absorb the blame, like, oh, I didn't do enough or I didn't prepare well enough. But if the outcome is positive though, we can't take we're not programmed to take credit for it. We're programmed to be so grateful. Like, oh my God, I just got so lucky and I can't believe they gave me this opportunity. Little old me that doesn't deserve anything. I just can't believe that people would throw me this bone. And we are deading that mentality right now once and for all. Because this time around, after those two departments in Ruckton passed me over, guess what I did? I fired my recruiter that kept like sorry. I fired my recruiter that kept wasting my time by applying me to positions that obviously don't match up with my actual background and experience. Because just think about it from an objective perspective. Take yourself like out, zoom out, and have a bird's eye view of the situation. If I applied for 2 departments in a row at Rock 10 and they gave me the same feedback, which is that they like my attitude, they really like my, personality, they feel that I would be a great fit for the team culturally, but I just don't have the amount of technical skill, like IT skill. I don't know programming languages, things like that. Like I can't write JavaScript scripts or code from scratch. So they said both departments gave the same reason as to why they had to reject me. So what does that say to you about the underlying problem in the situation? The problem is that there's a mismatch in my skill set, my actual skill set, like what I actually bring to the table, and what this recruiter is trying to peg me into, like the hole that the puzzle pieces don't match, right? Like she's trying to get me to apply to these roles that clearly are not matched up. The requirements for the role are not matched up to the skills and the value that I bring to the table. So whose fault is that? It's the recruiter's fault because that's their job. Okay? It's not my fault for like not being technical. I mean, yeah, I sometimes I wish that I could like go back in time and take more actual like programming classes. That would be great. But that's not where we're at right now, So, oh my God, Jenny, thank you so much. Thank you so much. She sent me a $20 super chat for my birthday. But yeah, like, I'm just so glad that I was even like, I've been in this mentality for a while now, but to actually have like a situation that's played out in my past before that I had, I used to have that like reaction before where I just internalized everything as being my fault or being not enough for something. And to be able to like go through the same situation again this time and recognize that actually it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem. And I'm not saying this in a nasty way, right? Like I didn't curse out the recruiter or anything like that, but I just realized that, oh, hey, this is what's happening here. Like you're wasting my time. You're wasting everyone's time by making me apply to these roles that clearly don't align with my resume. So I fired her. And then next day, another recruiter from a different company contacts me about the job that I'm in now. And it was like so effortless, no resistance whatsoever in the path to getting me into this job. It was like within 72 hours. I did the interview, decided the start date. They decided that they were going to bring me on in August. That's why I had to cut my freaking Dubai trip short because they insisted that I start on August 1st because the girl that's training me is leaving soon. But yeah, you bring the party, you bring the vibes, and you bring the fun. But yeah, back to the dating coaches though. So I just feel like, I don't know. I don't want to, even though I could make a course, I don't want people to be talking about me on Reddit like, oh, she's just, even if it's not true, right? Like I'm not being money hungry, but like I am money hungry because I live under capitalism. See, even that, like I'm not going to try to pretend like the situation is not something that it's not. I love YouTube. I love giving advice. I love reviewing makeup, but I also, let's be real, I also love making money from this. I will say that you're not if you want to do social media, you won't be able to survive for long if that's your primary motivation, right? Because I don't make a lot of money from this. And like I've been doing it for 6 years already, and I don't make a lot of money at all. It's probably like 8,000. No, I was averaging 9,000 yen per month from just AdSense revenue. I get about $25 in Yes Style kickbacks per month, and I mean it's about $100 a month, I guess. So $100 is $100, right? It's all relative if you feel that that's a lot of money or not. I mean, I'd rather have it than not have it, but you can do your own free mini course on YouTube and people react. The thing is, like, I also, there's another component to this as well. I don't want to be known for giving dating advice. Like, something about the idea that, okay, because I actually do want to be, I do want to have like a nice, healthy, masculine, feminine relationship with polarity um, of my own. And something about like being, I'm so sorry. Something about being known as like a dating coach on the internet is just very cringe to me. Even though like I stand behind everything that I say, you know, I'm not one of those people that like I know that I don't speak out of emotion. I don't speak like I mean what I say, right? I don't backtrack on what I say, and I don't double down on either on things either. If somebody presents me with an opposing viewpoint or like a counter argument, like I can have reasonable civilized conversations with members of the opposite sex, even about our different takes on these things. Case in point, the date that I had with the last guy in Dubai. But I just feel like I don't know. I feel like the industry is so corrupted at this point. There's too many bad actors. I just don't want to be associated with that energy at all. And I also don't want like my future you have to okay, you have to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal mate, right? So I'm thinking, okay, who's the ideal guy that I want to end up with? Someone with a traditional masculine provider mentality, someone who is ambitious, who has like his own business and everything, who's low key, right? We don't want some guy that's following like a bunch of OnlyFans girls on Instagram. So I'm thinking if I put myself in the shoes of that guy, would he want his future girlfriend or fiance or wife to be like out here on the internet streets, like pandering to the lowest common denominator? I don't think so. And even if, okay, I still, so it's, it's kind of catch 22 because like if I was if I ended up with someone that was a good match for me, it wouldn't be a case of like, oh, he finds one of my videos and then he feels like, okay, we got to break up or anything, but it's just not a good first impression, you know? Like if I was already in a relationship right now, if I was like that niche coach that I was talking about. Her name is Maria, by the way. I don't know if any of you follow her. She has a channel called SAS. It stands for Sisterhood, like something Ascension of the Sisterhood. And she has been married like for the past 10 years. Her husband is provides everything for her, right? So she does social media as just her own side thing. But like it's good, you know, it not just in terms of income, it's good for women to have like their own thing going on. But she's already been married to her husband. And same thing with Shira 7, right? Shira's been married forever. So I feel like it's fine because they're already with their man. So of course, like they the things that they teach their man agrees with, right? Because he's like in that dynamic with her, Shira's husband, and also Maria's husband. But I feel like if you're single, I don't think it's a good strategy to be like having, I don't know, all these clips of you out here that could be unfairly looped into red pill content. Like even though I'm not talking from red pill perspectives, I'm still getting grouped with that though. Like for people that come across my channel for the first time, they could very easily just like loop me into that whole group of people, which I do not want to be associated at all. So yeah. Maybe instead of a dating coach, you can be a life coach. So not just focusing on romance, but also work, friendships, and self-esteem issues. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I do. Like that's what I have a lot of other content where that's the like the theme of this live stream as well is girls just want to have fun, meaning that we bring the party, we bring the fun to whatever situation we're in, no matter how mundane it is. From the outside, we are the ones that bring the life to the party. It's not the other way around. Like, we don't need to depend on the environment or the situation to maximize the enjoyment in our life. So yeah, those kinds of topics I really like. But I don't know, I feel like lately the topic just always comes back to dating somehow. I hate those red pill people. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. But like, honestly, I don't come across those people in real life because I think my vetting process, or just my innate vetting superpowers are so strong. Like, I don't even come across men like that because their energy would repel me so hard from a mile away. It's not even funny. What's Andrew Tate doing anyway now? I feel like he's been quiet. Don't you think so? Or maybe I'm just like not paying attention to them at all, and that's why I feel like nothing's happening. Don't you feel like Andrew Tate has been oddly quiet for the past few months? Was he taken down? I feel like Andrew Tate is I don't know. To me, he's almost like a comedian. I swear I thought I saw Tristan Tate in Dubai once, but then like I turned back and it was someone else. I swear I saw one of the Tate brothers. Um, I only come across them online, but I know they exist in real life because one of my coworkers' husbands is one of those men. Husband's brother is one of those men. Ah, he's still on Twitter or X, I think. Yeah, I have. Okay, so I came across like one. He wasn't red pill, but he let it slip during a date, but definitely on purpose. He let it slip to see what my reaction would be. I didn't react, of course. I don't react to anything. That's another power that you have as a feminine woman, that you don't react to things, because reaction means that you're bothered or you're threatened by it. So yeah, I went on a date with a guy and like he showed me something. He showed me this one reel from Instagram from this girl, like a red pill girl basically. So she was responding to another woman, like a sprinkle girls reel about how men like selfish women, right? And then she was like debunking it or something, and I was like, okay. Obviously I blocked him on everything after that, but the brother is one of those guys that believe women owe him their attention for simply existing. Yeah, so the thing is, like, this is what I'm saying. So those kind of, that's an extreme end of the spectrum, those kind of guys, right? Like the incels, whatever. But most people are not on the extreme end of the spectrum. So most people are not like full on a red pill incel or full on provider king, like providing 100% for his woman, flying her out on private jets everywhere. And this is just the reality, right? I know we feel a little relieved when we hear that not everyone is an incel, but it doesn't feel as good to acknowledge that not everyone is going to be a full provider either. But that doesn't mean that all hope is lost. It's just that, like I said, it's a very case by case basis, I think, the state of our society right now, because there are so many different ideologies fighting like in the zeitgeist right now. There's so many, it's a transition period, first of all, and we're dealing with like, I don't know what wave we're on, fourth wave feminism. And we're dealing with also, lots of men that been raised by single mothers, things of that nature. And that's why, okay, it's going to sound, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything, right? I'm just here to give you the real solution. I'm not here to say the PC solution. That's why I set my sights on Dubai or the Middle East, at least, last year. But for me, Dubai, right? Because I'm not Muslim. And so I would never be able to really, like, if I was to go to a really traditional Muslim country like Saudi Arabia or somewhere, or even the other Emirates in the UAE, because Dubai is part of the UAE, and Dubai is the most progressive, like modern, westernized one out of them all. All the other ones, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, wherever, they're still pretty conservative, especially if you get into the rural areas. So, like, the only place that I would be able to find a guy that has those like Eastern values, but still be able to live with the amount of like westernized lifestyle that I'm comfortable with would be Dubai. So sometimes you just have to change your location. Like, it is that simple. And also because like I really, really don't like Japanese dating culture. I think it's disgusting actually. Like, because this is why there's nothing that any dating coach could ever teach me, because who is out here like as an Asian girl who was born and raised in the US, so I'm a native English speaker, right? Who out here has my experience where I'm like living in Tokyo for most of my adult life, but I was born and raised in the States, but like now I'm dating in Dubai. I've outsourced my dating to Dubai basically. But I still date when I'm here in Tokyo because sometimes I just want to like go out for free food. And I found it's so funny because like I raised my standards so much to the point where like there was a point where I was frustrated about having to get on trains for dates. Like, I don't like to get on trains. That's another reason why I don't want to live in Tokyo long term, because everyone praises the train system. Like, yes, it's very efficient and clean and whatnot, but it also enables dustyism, okay? Because the guys don't have to have cars. And I'm not going on a date if they're not picking me up in a car. So like somehow I manifested my way into the strata of guys that have cars. I only like talk to guys that have cars here. There's a lot of them, contrary to the brainwashing that the Dusties try to get over on you by saying that, oh, we live in Tokyo, so everyone takes the train. Like, no, the guys that I date take me out in their cars. But anyway, it's because some of those men have a lack of a positive masculine father figure. I can't help but feel bad for them. Yeah, you can feel bad for them and also like not be Captain Save a Bro at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel bad for them, but also you have to live your own life. So that's not your responsibility, or yeah, it's not your responsibility to fix that. Like, it sounds very harsh, but everyone's responsible for themselves once they become an adult. Like, whatever trauma or things that you didn't get maybe in your childhood, like if you didn't get a masculine father figure, there's plenty of women out here that didn't have a healthy father figure, or they were they were conditioned to be operating too much in their masculine for their entire lives. But we are trying, though, like women are trying their best to reprogram ourselves. And I feel like if I'm trying this much, then I deserve to have a person who is on the same level, at least, right? In terms of like inner work and self-awareness. No one's perfect, including myself, but it's very important that I have someone on my same level, or else they're just going to bring you down, because the average vibration of the relationship is going to go down to the one that has the lowest vibration. You know what I mean? If you're up here and like your boyfriend or whoever is down here, then both of you are going to go down here as far as the relationship goes, as its own separate entity, and we can't have that. So yeah, like these dating coaches can't tell me nothing, because they're not out here as an Asian girl dating in both Tokyo and Dubai. And the stark differences I see, it's like, I don't know, I'm just like disgusted by dating culture in Tokyo. And I imagine it's the same in the States or somewhere too, because they literally, it's so like night and day. The guys here, they want to hold your hand, they want to cop a feel basically, like they want to have a kiss on the first date. And then the guys in Dubai don't even touch you. Like, they don't even make a motion to touch you in the first 2 to 3 dates. I haven't like dated someone long enough in Dubai, because I keep having to come back to take care of Maxine. But I've gone on, I think the most I've gone was, yeah, second date. They don't touch you at all. like it's a true date in the traditional sense of the word. Like you go out for dinner, you talk about stuff. Sometimes it gets into like male female dynamic, that type of talk, but it's never like sexual, it's never perverted. Yeah, they don't touch you. I like it. I think it's very respectful. And if Dubai is the last place on earth where that's available to me, then that's where I'm going to go, you know? Because I'm not the one to like sit around and complain about my environment when I know that I'm a master manifester and all I have to do is change my environment. So I went out with this guy that I met at a party, my friend's birthday party last week, and he literally goes to Dubai once a month. Like he's originally from Dubai and he went to high school and college here. He's 25. I don't want to talk about this actually. Oh my god, no. I'm still too traumatized, like I can't talk about this. But what did I expect from a 25-year-old? I can't do it. It was cute though. It was cute. Okay. I hate when men try to touch you when you barely even know them. Yeah, like that's the expectation here. So, you know, at least I hedge it. I mean, I expect that that's just the baseline behavior that guys do here in Tokyo. Like they'll at least try to hold your hand. So that means that I at least need to make sure that I'm getting picked up and dropped off on the date so that I don't have to lift a finger if I'm going to be dealing with that. Because the guys in Dubai do all that and more and they don't touch you. So there's really no competition whatsoever. I also don't go out on dates with guys that I can't imagine myself at least like holding hands with. I tried to do that for a while. Like I tried to, you know, why are we talking about dating again? See, the conversation always comes back to this. And I don't blame us because it's juicy, right? Like we want to talk about it as women or amongst our girlfriends, but it's just not something that I want to be known for online, if you know what I mean. Because I don't want my future husband to see it and be like, ugh. Even though the contents that I'm talking about, like I'm sure he would agree with me, right? Like our views on masculine and feminine roles in the relationship would align. I would end up with somebody that agrees with me, but I just don't think it's a good first impression because I put myself in the position of that guy, like a high value guy that's got a lot going for himself. He's like building, making sure to build like not just working 9 to 5, but making sure to build for himself to leave a legacy for his family. If I was that guy, like I wouldn't want my girl out in these streets, just running her mouth on the internet. For like being an influencer, that's fine, right? Like my makeup stuff or just talking about other life coaching topics, that's totally fine. But being known specifically as a dating coach is just very cringe to me. I'm not, this is no offense to anyone who's like doing that work or who feels like they're really called to that work. But for me personally, it's just not the vibes. Dating isn't even something I'm really interested in at the moment, but I like talking about it with other girls. Yeah. Um, oh my God, I'm so traumatized. I'm fine, but like, okay. No, it's okay. I'm gonna manifest everything. Everything works in my favor, so I'm not even worried. But like, damn, really? Did it have to happen like that? I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to take this message, universe. Am I supposed to not date in Japan at all anymore? Am I supposed to like run the other direction when I see the literal human incarnate of like if you asked AI to generate, you know what? I'm not even gonna. If you asked AI to generate like my exact specific type, exactly what I imagine my future partner to look like, that would be him. But it was the devil in disguise. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm trying to hold it together at this new job here, okay? Don't be No, I am not doing this. I'm so traumatized. No, it's totally my fault. It's a 100% my fault because I should not have been entertaining that in the first place. But wow. Okay. And then I got like a sore throat afterwards, not because of like anything that we did. I think because this happened like last week, but 2 days ago I got like a really sore throat, and I think there's a virus going around in Tokyo. They even put out a notice at my workplace telling people to wear masks, which I didn't listen to because I was like, I'm fine. I don't have a cold. And now here I am. But I think it's going away. Like, I think I delulued myself out of getting an actual cold because there's no fucking way. Mm. I got this packet of vitamin C gummies that you're supposed to only take 2 per day, and it's like a week's supply. I ate the whole thing yesterday. I feel like it worked. Yeah. Okay. The ASMR moment. Sorry, no, I'm just trying to like collect my thoughts. I can't believe it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. I feel like I've been on here for an hour only. But yeah, anything else? I really wanted to tell you guys the story with the guy, but I can't because it's public platform. And I'm still traumatized. All I will say is that the devil is a lie. Okay. The devil is a lie. They will come in the form of like a literal. Okay, I don't know exactly what his ethnicity was, but they will come in the form of a literal Dubai prince and like just knock you down on your ass before you even know what happened. Like you thought. Oh my god. You thought this 25-year-old boy was going to give you everything you ever wanted. No. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, my mouse got disconnected again. I thought it was the Wi-Fi. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to date one of his friends. Because I'm enlightened, but still petty. Two things can be true at the same time. He was so handsome, though. Like, oh my god. Like, he was so handsome. I felt like the wind was knocked out of me when he approached me. Okay. And then I had like a double heart attack when he told me his age. But yeah. See, he can never see this, you know? If something works out in the future, which it won't. But I'm not bothered because everything's going to work out for me anyway. So, yeah. Oh, I'm going to one of my networking groups. So I go to this like an Amazon sellers group. I have not put out a single product on Amazon since the 3 months that I've been attending their meetups. But they didn't say anything about you can't go if you're not selling on Amazon. I mean, As long as you pay the entrance fee, you can go and you can mingle and network. So they're having the next one this Wednesday, and one of the guys was like congratulating me on my new job, and he was saying that, oh, we have to go out for sushi to celebrate, so maybe they'll take me out to sushi. There is a Ariana, I'm looking at your message. There's like a almost billionaire in the Amazon sellers group. The problem is, though, is that his friend is batshit crazy. Like his friend also goes to the group, and that was the one that almost like, in my mind, it was SA, because he basically was like touching me without my permission. This is why I say dating. I wasn't even like on a date with this guy, but just men in general, like the whole idea around men and female relations in Japan is trash. I want nothing to do with it whatsoever. I don't even want to like get on here and preach to people about how they should avoid Japan. I mean, maybe if I feel a need to in the future, if I feel like it's just gotten way too out of hand and way too far, maybe I'll do like one announcement to warn the girls of the world. And the ones that want to listen, they can go save themselves. The ones that don't want to listen, they can stay here and rot for all I care. I do not care. Like, you guys, if you want to stay in Tokyo and deal with all this bullshit, be my guest. You deal with this for me while I only experience the amazing parts of Tokyo, that the non-dating relating part, the non-dating related parts that I like, such as the makeup and the food. And I'm going to outsource my dating to Dubai. Thank you very much. That's why I would only go to Japan with my friends. Definitely not alone. It's not like harassment. Like, they won't harass you on the street or anything like that. There's no like catcalling. But I'm talking about if you've lived here, if you're actually actively participating in the dating scene here, right? So you're like setting up dates, going on dates with I was gonna say Japanese guys, but it's not even just limited to that. It's just everyone here, right? They all conform to like the Tokyo dating style, which is very promiscuous, very low vibe, very pick me. And like, I'm over it. I'm not here to save anyone. I don't want to save anyone. I'm saving myself. Okay, I'm having an amazing time in Dubai with guys that drive me to the airport and get me little cute like rose bouquets and Burj Khalifa statuettes, and don't even touch me unless I go in for the hug, right? So yeah, the fact that they feel comfortable doing that is disgusting. But you know the problem? You know what the problem is, though? Is that the girls accept it, or they just feel like it's not worth fighting back. And if they don't feel like it's worth fighting back, then I'm certainly not gonna jump in and save a hoe. So yeah, that's a lesson to me, to be wary of like the guys from Dubai that come here as well. Like, he lives in both Dubai and Tokyo, but obviously if he's living in Tokyo, then he's gonna, as a guy, he's going to favor the dating culture here as opposed to the one in Dubai. So that was a lesson to me that no, it's only like pure Dubai guys for me from now on. Like, based in Dubai, live there 100% of the time. Preferably never even been to Japan or Korea or wherever where they do this shit. Or like preferably just very religious. Like, I'm sorry, but it benefits me better, right? If they're like Muslim, let's say, but an actual practicing Muslim that actually believes in no sex before marriage and that type of stuff. Because there's a lot of Muslims out here, including that guy, who think that they can just do whatever. Like, they will judge the girl, but they think that they get a free pass. I don't know. I don't care. I look cute in my bangs. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay. I think I have to leave, even though I don't want to, but I just remembered that I have to do this test for this online task thing. it's like a freelance, I guess, thing, but you just do these tasks where you analyze search engine results. Like in Japan, if they put in a certain search term, what results come up, and then you have to rate, like, is it primary interest or is it of secondary interest to the searcher? And I have to take a test in order to do that job. So it's like $30 an hour, 30 US dollars, which converts to quite a lot in Japanese yen right now because of the exchange rate. So yeah, I would like to have a little cash, a little extra cash if possible. 30 US dollars is like 4,400 Japanese yen right now. Yep. And then I'm not feeling this, you guys. I'm not feeling like the 2 days off only compared to when I was fully unemployed and I could just like come on here all day, every day doing my videos. Now I only have 2 days because I'm like sleeping 10 days out of the at night every weekday. I really hope that they let me work from home soon because this is not it. Also, my boss, like my manager, is not even here next week. Like the last week, the guy that was training me was not here, and the girl was gone for like 2 days out of the week. And then this week, the girl is only here Monday and Tuesday. Then that's going to be her last day on Tuesday, and my boss is not here for the whole week. So, but the guy is coming back. The other guy underneath my manager on Tuesday. Can I just call him sick? Like I really don't. But I'm not. I feel better now though. Actually, my throat doesn't hurt as much anymore. Thank God, because I don't have time for a cold or the flu or something on top of all of this. Um, mm-mm. I heard the Japanese currency is not doing well currently. Oh my god. What a strange week. But yeah, I don't like this trend where my birthday and Halloween, those are the two main events that I feel like I always look forward to, but then they get thwarted somehow by either work or something else, usually work. Like I need to make sure that that doesn't happen this year with Halloween because I have literal backlog of costumes from like 5 years ago that I was planning to wear, and I never got a chance to. I was supposed to be Jessica Rabbit last year, and I just couldn't do it because I think what happened. Oh yeah, I came back from Dubai, so I had like a trip, which is always chaotic, and then I think we were just like particularly busy at my previous job during that period, so I couldn't celebrate Halloween. It was lame. But I couldn't even bring myself to do like a cute little makeup look. Like at least in the past, I was able to somewhat do a little makeup look, put up a Instagram post, very cute, very demure, but on theme, right? And lately it's just gotten out of control. Like, I don't know. I am salty. I'm salty about not being able to celebrate my birthday properly. I mean, I did kind of before the week before I went to Dubai. Meg took me out to lunch and she got me this YSL lipstick. It's personalized with my name. So we went to the YSL boutique in Omotesando and they have like a 3D printer thing. And it has sakura on it, although it's starting to rub off already, which is kind of lame. I think this is my fault because the lady, I remember she told me not to use like alcohol wipes to clean it. And so I think I forgot about that and I wiped it down with an alcohol wipe, and here part of the sakura petals are missing. But it smells so good. It smells like peaches. I just got like the clear pink glaze. But yeah, How am I supposed to clean my lipstick though if I can't use alcohol wipes? I'm so traumatized because that guy was also a Leo. Like his birthday was August 6th, actually. Mine was August 5th. So no, I refuse to have this be the memories of my birthday. No, the memories are the lipstick that Meg got me and my Dubai trip, which was chill but like kind of weird because it just felt like everything was at a standstill in Dubai. Like all the operations were halted. And then I was plunged into my new job right after coming back. And I was like kind of traumatized by the long commute for the first week. But then I got it together the second week and decided to prioritize my sleep. And that worked out well. But the thing is, like, I feel like my body has a Pavlovian response to being in an office where it doesn't even matter how much I sleep. I'm still going to get sleepy at some point just because the environment is so oppressive. And this office even isn't even that bad, by most standards. Like, actually, compared to all the other office environments I've been in, is quite stylish. And a large part of that is due to the company that it is, which I can't say the name of. But like it's quite stylish. I actually don't even mind being there because this is again, it's in cybersecurity, which is a field that I'm actually interested in learning about. But it's just oppressive. Like the knowledge that you are chained there, you have to stay there. You're not chained there. Like we can go out for lunch and stuff. I always pick a new restaurant because it's in Ginza, so there's so many nice restaurants. They're expensive, but I regret nothing, right? I always take my lunch break out and go to a proper restaurant. There's a lot of people that like just go to the combini and buy something and they bring it back to the little break room thing in the floor below us, which I don't enjoy eating there because everyone's like dead silent and I'm like, okay, is this a break or is this purgatory? But yeah, so I choose to go out and eat at a proper sit down place, and they have a lot of delicious restaurants in Ginza, so it's nice. I get to explore the restaurants in that area, and I get to get my hair done there, at the stylish salons. They give me like a haircut that's actually cute, unlike the people in Chofu. um, but yeah, I don't need to be there every day. Like I'm ready for this month to be over. We have Oh wait, no, that's next month. Mm. But I have my networking event with the Amazon sellers group on Wednesday this week. So that's something to look forward to. My pole dance class, like the pole dance studio that I go to, is also on the way for my commute. So if I wanted to, I wouldn't do this on a weekday, but maybe on Friday, depending on how I feel, I could take a pole dance lesson because it's literally like on the same line. So it's included in my commute. I don't have to pay like extra money for transportation because it's part of my pass, that route, which is nice. Um, Maybe I should just like focus more on pole dance. I feel like, yeah, because that's another one of my goals, right? I kind of want to dance for a club, even if it's just super part time, like once a week or something. I want to experience that and make some people regret their entire lives as well. Okay, I I need to get off before I say something I regret. Thank you so much, Jenny, for the super chat. I just give you a heart. Thank you, Ariana. Everyone else who joined. You're so messy. Yeah, you can be messy and enlightened at the same time, okay? We can contain multitudes in themselves. That's another thing that I don't really I started to just get turned off about with a lot of femininity content out there. That's why I'm only really listening to the SAS coach these days, Maria, because she preaches like she says in her content that you are inherently feminine because you're a woman, like full stop. Okay, so you don't need to do anything necessarily, like you don't need to put on frilly dresses and act sweet. I mean, it helps. There's like techniques that you can do, right? And of course, if that's the style that you like, if you like to be girly, if you like to wear makeup, which I happen to like, then that's great. You should lean into that. Like the point is that you shouldn't hold back in expressing your femininity. But just because you don't happen to like that, it doesn't mean you're less feminine than a woman that wears like corsets and petticoats, you know? Simply me, Suzanne, Jenny. Thank you all for joining me. And remember that Leo season is not over until it's over. So we still have a lock on the vibes until August 22nd. Is that? When is Leo season? August 22nd. Okay. Bye. Virgo season. Yes. Your time to shine. I'm looking forward to it. Bye. See you later.